Chapter 111. When they got back to the tavern, Lu Li changed his mind. He didn't take the teleportation formation right away. He planned to teleport after dark. By then, there would be fewer people in the God-down city, which would make it harder for him to be discovered. Lu Li and Lu Yi stayed in the tavern until midnight. They spent 2,000 Xian crystals to teleport back to the God-down city. There were indeed fewer people at night. This time, the two felt better after taking the teleportation formation. Even though they still felt dizzy and wanted to vomit, they managed to hold it back. The city gate was closed at midnight. The two found a tavern but didn't sleep. They cultivated until dawn. Then they left the tavern and went straight to the city gate and the dock. Family Patriarch. Before they arrived at the dock, several people ran towards them from behind. Lu Li saw that it was the Patriarch who sent them here and the several disciples of the Lu family. Lu Li asked with confusion, "Why are you behind us? Are you in the city as well?" "Yes." The Patriarch nodded and said, "When you teleported back last night, we already knew. We also knew that you left the city. We followed you to see if anyone was following you. This time, did it go well?" Lu Yi smiled and nodded. "Very well. We will talk about it when we get back." "Okay." The Patriarch knew what Lu Yi and Lu Li were here for. He trembled with excitement. They went straight to the dock and went back to the Blood Dragon Island on the battleship dock there. When they got back to the Blood Dragon Island and told them about what happened, all the Patriarchs were so excited that they almost burst into tears. They looked at Lu Li in a different light. They all knew very well that from now on, Lu Li would be the Xian crystals bag of the Lu family. Without Lu Li, the Lu family would have to starve to death. Lu Yi told them about the 50 heaven Xian pellets she bought and stated that they were for Lu Li's cultivation. Nobody had any objection. As long as Lu Li continued to help, the Lu family could grow more blood caterpillar fruits and get more Xian crystals. In the future, they could have anything they wanted. Patriarch 7 and the others discussed it over and over again. Once again, they made it clear that they could not leak this matter. Otherwise, they would be killed without question. At the same time, Patriarch 7 decided to buy some materials and build inhibition formations to seal off the entire valley. Apart from the Patriarchs, nobody was allowed to go in. There was another piece of news. Patriarch Lu sent someone back with the news that the families of the Lu family were not killed. At the moment, he was arranging for them to be transferred in batches. This is both a good and a bad thing. Those family members were their loved ones. If they could come over, it meant that they were completely safe. However, with so many people coming over, the family would need to spend a lot of money. Many children needed resources to cultivate, and the more people there were, the more it would be messy. The Lu family was seriously short of manpower. Lu Li paid them no mind. He said something to Lu Yi and went back to his room to cultivate with the 50 heaven Xian pellets. Patriarch 7 and the others continued their meeting to discuss the secret purchase of the blood caterpillar grass seeds and the blood rhinoceros at the God-down Island. This heavenly profound core is indeed amazing. Lu Li took a heaven Xian pellet and cultivated for a whole day before he stopped. He sensed for a while and secretly marveled at how good it was to have resources. No wonder the disciples of big families could cultivate so quickly. According to his preliminary judgment, the speed of his cultivation had increased by at least 20 times after consuming the heavenly profound pill. Originally, if he wanted to improve his Xian energy to the middle stage of the Divine Sea realm, it would take him at least 3 years. Now, he estimated that it would only take about 1.5 months. This cultivation speed was too fast. This was only the profound heavenly pill. What if he bought a higher grade profound saint pill to aid his cultivation? Would it be 50 times or even 100 times? But Lu Yi said that the heaven Xian pellet could increase the speed of cultivation by more than 10 times. Now, it was more than 20 times. Today, the animal tooth pendant glowed for a long time. The fact that he could cultivate so fast must have something to do with the animal tooth pendant. The cultivation of a warrior is just piling up resources. One heaven Xian pellet cost 80 Xian crystals. Lu Li felt cultivation was burning Xian crystals. This was the Spirit Sea realm. What about the Soul Pond realm? the Fate Wheel Realm and the Eternal Realm. How did his father, Lu Renhuang, cultivate to the human sovereign realm? That being said, Lu Ling said that the Lu family was one of the 10 most powerful bloodlines of the Central Plains. Such a powerful family must have horrifying resources. If Lu Renhuang's talent was extraordinary, it could be piled up. Lu Li continued his cultivation after his meal. There were no more blood caterpillar grass seeds in the Lu family, so there was no need for him to use the animal tooth pendant to improve the blood. He made it clear to Lu Yi that she should not disturb him if there was nothing important. 3 days later, Lu Yi came to him. She bought the seeds of the blood caterpillar grass and uprooted all the blood caterpillar grass. She also bought more than a dozen blood rhinoceroses for Lu Li to improve the blood. Lu Li went to the valley and found that the 2 blood ponds had become a huge one filled with blood. He looked around and made sure that there was nobody in the valley. Then he pretended to take out some powder and sprinkled it in. He quietly threw in the animal tooth pendant and stirred it with a stick for a long time. The blood boiled and tumbled. When the blood stabilized, Lu Li took out the animal tooth pendant and washed it. Then he left the rest to Lu Yi. The blood pond was enlarged. Even if the Lu family planted the entire valley with blood caterpillar grasses, it would last 4 or 5 days. Therefore, Lu Li only needed to come once every 4 or 5 days. The Lu family did plant the entire valley, more than 2,000 blood caterpillar grasses. According to Patriarch 9's suggestion, they should plant 7 or 8,000 blood caterpillar grasses at one time, but Patriarch 7 vetoed it. If they planted too many, they could not plant them in the valley. If they planted them outside, they would be found out easily. Then there was the blood rhinoceroses. If they bought dozens of blood rhinoceroses at one time, how could it not attract the attention of the Blood Evil Island? An innocent man would get into trouble because of his wealth. The Lu family was too weak now. Once people knew that they could grow blood caterpillar grasses of high quality, the Lu family would be wiped out in minutes. Patriarch 7 would go to the Blood Evil Island from time to complain. At the same time, he asked many patriarchs to go to the lake area near the Blood Evil Island to hunt Shin beasts, pretending that they were so poor that they had no food to eat. Lu Yi asked someone to open up a farm in another place and planted some blood caterpillar grasses that were colorless and sickly. From time to time, she would invite Shwep Bugaway over to give her some pointers. After 13 days, the blood caterpillar grasses were ripe, just like the ones Lu Li sold last time. The Lu family was overjoyed. Patriarch 7 asked Lu Li and Lu Yi to bring 2,000 blood caterpillar grasses to the Heaven Prison City to sell. 2,000 blood caterpillar grasses would be 50,000 Xian crystals in total. If they could get this amount of Xian crystals, the Lu family would not be short of Xian crystals in a short period of time. They could buy a lot of resources, and at the same time, they could find ways to recruit warriors and slowly grow. What's the hurry? Lu Li didn't agree. He refused directly. There are too few blood caterpillar grasses. The more we go to the Heaven Prison City, the easier it is for us to be exposed. Let's wait until we get 10,000 blood caterpillar grasses before we go. Also, I think when we get enough Xian crystals, you can consider buying some green dwarfs. With some green dwarfs, the Blood Dragon Island will be safe for now. Green dwarfs? Lu Yi murmured. Her eyes lit up. She shouted in surprise. That's right. We are not short of Xian crystals. The most important thing now is to ensure the safety of the island. As long as we can keep this island, we will have endless Xian crystals. Lu Li and Lu didn't dare to think about it before. After all, green dwarfs were too expensive. Raising green dwarfs would cost too many Xian crystals. Now, they could make 50,000 Xian crystals in 13 days. Why not? After Lu Yi told the patriarchs about it, all the patriarchs' eyes glowed. As long as they could have several green dwarfs as slaves comparable to warriors of the Soul Pond realm, apart from the God-Down Island, who would dare to attack the Blood Dragon Island? P.S. There's one more chapter in the evening. For chapters today, add more chapters for Yang Xian, tentatively scheduled to be released on 6. For that day will be a huge explosion. Chapter 112. There was a rule at the Thousand Island Lake which was set by the Old Man of Heaven Prison himself. No force could attack a force lower than 2 ranks. To put it simply, a 4th rank force could not attack a 2nd rank one, and a 3rd rank force could not attack a 1st rank one. The Lu family was a 2nd rank force, while the God-Down Island was a 4th rank force. They could not attack the Lu family. Of course, rules were dead, but people were alive. If the God-Down Island really wanted to wipe out the Lu family, it could be done with one word. Any big shot of the God-Down Island could give an order, and countless 3rd rank forces would drown the Lu family. But unless the Lu family provoked the God-Down Island and courted death themselves, how could the big shots of the God-Down Island allow someone to attack the Lu family? After all, it was not a nice thing to hear. The big shots of the God-Down Island didn't think much of a small 2nd rank family. Therefore, the real threat of the Lu family was the Blood Evil Island. The Lu family had taken away the business of the Blood Evil Island, cutting off their source of income and lifeline. The Blood Evil Island relied on blood caterpillar grasses. Once a large number of high-quality blood caterpillar fruits entered the market, the income of the Blood Evil Island would be greatly reduced. By that time, the Blood Evil Island would try every means to find out the secret of the Lu family. Once the secret of the Lu family was discovered, a war would inevitably break out. No matter how righteous Xuecho was, the patriarchs of the Blood Evil Island would not let it go. How could a man of high status at the Thousand Island Lake be a good man? Even Patriarch 7 didn't believe this. There were no permanent friends or enemies in the world, only interests. The existence of the Lu family had deprived the Blood Evil Island of its interests. Cultivating powerful warriors and improving the strength of the Lu family were urgent matters. Patriarch 7 and the others discussed and soon made a decision. They would not sell the blood caterpillar fruits now. They would cultivate tens of thousands of them and sell them at the Heaven Prison Island. Then they would buy some green dwarfs. As long as the green dwarfs came back, even if the Blood Evil Island knew the secret of the Lu family, they wouldn't be afraid of them. For the rest of the time, the Lu family continued to cultivate blood caterpillar fruits, Luli continued to cultivate, and Patriarch 7 continued to go to the Blood Evil Island, crying about the lack of resources. And Xuebugue would go to the Blood Dragon Island from time to time to flirt with Lu Yi. The frequency of Xuebugue's visits was getting more and more frequent. His intentions were getting more and more obvious. It was clear that he wanted to woo Lu Yi and marry her. Lu Yi was now the patriarch of the Lu family. If he married Lu Yi, the Lu family would naturally belong to the Blood Evil faction. There were more than a dozen warriors in the Spirit Sea realm in the Lu family, including 2 at the later stage of the Spirit Sea realm. They were a great force. The key was that the Lu family used to be a 3rd-rank family. They had been dominating the Wuling County for so many years. They must have some special resources, such as advanced Xian skills and special secret methods. Xuecho was very interested in these. Swallowing up the Lu family. This was the tone that had been set the moment the Lu family came to seek shelter. However, this matter could not be rushed. Xuecho wanted a safe face. He was afraid that if he pressed too hard, things would go in the opposite direction. At that time, it would be troublesome if the Lu family fought to the death. That was why Xuebugue had been working so hard recently. Every time, he would bring some special fruits of the Thousand Island Lake to please Lu Yi in every possible way, trying to win her heart. If it was in the past, Lu Yi might have considered having a relationship with Xuebugue for the sake of the Lu family's development. The Lu family was not in need of Xian crystals. They didn't have to rely on the Blood Evil Island. Lu Yi's mind was also very firm. Every time Xuebugue returned, she would treat him politely and with a very good attitude. Anything could be discussed, but talking about feelings? No way. Half a month later, the second batch of Blood Evil fruits came out. The first batch of Lu family disciples that were relocated from the Wuling County had arrived as well. Among them were the kid with the roaring fire bloodline and the relatives of Patriarch 7. There were thousands of elderly, women, and children in the Lu family. The first batch alone had 500 or 600 people. As soon as the people arrived, the Blood Dragon Island became lively. Many children with good aptitude for cultivation were sent here, which gave people hope. These children would be the backbone of the Lu family in the future. The arrival of the Lu family's family members made the Blood Evil Island happy. With so many family members, the Lu family could not run away even if they wanted to. With so many people to feed, the Lu family would have to surrender to the Blood Evil Island. Luli paid no attention to what was going on outside. He only went to the valley every couple of days and threw the animal tooth pendant into the blood pond. He cultivated with all his might and used the heaven shin pellets like water. It was so cool to cultivate with advanced pellets. He had been cultivating for almost a month. The air whirl in his spirit sea had grown bigger. It was about to fill up the entire spirit sea. By then, he could try to reach the middle stage of the spirit sea realm. The only thing that bothered Lu Li was Little White. Little White had eaten a lot of fire jade spars, but its size was still the same. However, it was more energetic recently. It didn't sleep every day anymore. Since it didn't sleep, it had to play, right? Luli didn't let it out of the castle for fear that it would be hurt. Little White was bored. It had to play with Lu Li when it had nothing to do. It would scratch here and there, which made Luli unable to cultivate in peace. Luli was annoyed and scolded it. Little White would squat in the corner again. Looking pitiful after some thoughts, Luli decided to move. He asked someone to build a cabin in a hill called Bamboo Hill more than 3 miles to the north of the farm. He lived in the cabin alone. There were many small bamboo rats in the Bamboo Hill. It was a spacious place. There was a big river with some fish and shrimps. Luli didn't allow anyone to get close. He could let Little White run around to catch bamboo rats or fish and shrimps in the river. Little White wouldn't disturb him for no reason. Luli usually cultivated in the castle. He was rarely seen or chatted with people of the Lu family. Therefore, it made no difference to the Lu family where he cultivated. Anyways, they could ask him to go to the valley every couple of days. Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 had asked Lu Yi many times for the secret formula to improve Lu Li's blood, asking her to find a way to get it. After all, this thing was the lifeline of the Lu family. It would be safer to have it in the hands of the Lu family. What if Lu Li suddenly left? Lu Yi, on the other hand, knew very well that there was no secret formula. It was the animal tooth pendant on Lu Li's neck, his trump card. How could Lu Li give it to the Lu family? Little White was much happier after it came to the Bamboo Hill. Lu Li told it not to leave the Bamboo Hill and to come back as soon as it saw people. Little White was also excited. It wandered around in the hill all day long, chasing after those bamboo rats until there was nowhere left for them to go. Another half a month passed by. The cyclone inside Lu Li's spirit sea had reached its limit. He could make it to the middle stage of the spirit sea realm at any time. He came out from his closed-door cultivation. Now that the Lu family had Xian crystals, he could buy many pellets. Naturally, he wouldn't be so silly as to endure the pain to reach the middle stage of the spirit sea realm like he did before. He found Little White and walked toward the Lu family fortress. He planned to ask Lu Yi for some pellets so that he could make the breakthrough. He didn't find Lu Yi at the Lu family fortress. After some inquiries, he learned that Shweb Bugue was here again. Lu Yi had accompanied him to the Plenaloon Pond at the south. Lu Li was too embarrassed to ask Patriarch 7 and the others for pellets. He knew about the Plenaloon Pond. It was just 6 miles to the south of the Lu family fortress. With his speed, he could get there in the time for several incense sticks to burn. He walked towards a Plenaloon Pond in strides. He planned to go back to the hill to continue cultivating after telling Lu Yi. After the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, he was not far away from the Plenaloon Pond. A man suddenly ran towards him and shouted when he saw Lu Li. It was a man of the Lu family. Lu Li knew him. He remembered his name was Lu Xia. Lu Li frowned and asked, "Lu Xia, what happened?" That man had been running at the top of his speed. He was out of breath. He took a few deep breaths before he said, "Lord Lu, go to the Plenaloon Pond. Shwebugue might rape Ravager family patriarch. Go and save her." P.S. Chapter 4 is here. New books need care, collection, recommendation votes, comments, tips, everything. Please come to the Genesis or Qi QQ reading, mobile reading to support the old freak. If you all work hard, there will be 4 chapters tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that. Chapter 113. On hearing this, Lu Li's expressions turned cold. Lu Yi was his only friend in the Lu family. She had helped him before. How could he let something happen to her without doing anything? At that moment, he circulated his dark force to its maximum speed. He lifted Lu Xia with one hand and asked him to point the way. At the same time, he asked about the situation. Lu Li's physical strength was so strong that carrying a person did not affect his speed at all. Lu Xia explained everything quickly and showed Lu Li the way at the same time. Today, Xue Bugui came to the Blood Dragon Island with some people to look for Lu Yi, saying that he wanted to see the scenery of the Plenilun Lake. Xue Bugui had been visiting frequently recently, but the Lu family did not take it seriously. Lu Yi did not dare to offend Xue Bugui. She had to suppress her disgust and accompany Xue Bugui to the Blood Dragon Island. In the past, Lu Yi would usually be accompanied by an elder and a few guards. Today's situation was special. The valley had just harvested a batch of blood caterpillar fruits, so Patriarch 7 took some people to the God-Down Island to buy seeds and blood rhinoceroses. Fortunately, the second group of Lu clan members had arrived. Patriarch 9 and several other patriarchs went to welcome them. Therefore, there were not many patriarchs left in the Lu clan castle. 2 of them were still guarding the medicine fields in the valley. Lu Yi and Xue Bugui went to the Plenilun Pond a few times. Lu Yi didn't pay much attention to them, and just brought 2 guards at the peak of the Xianwu realm to the pond, who knew that when they went to the full moon lake, Xue Bugui actually told the guards of the Xie clan and the Lu clan not to follow too closely. It was normal for Xue Bugui to want to be alone with Lu Yi. What was not normal was Lu Xia and Xue Bugui wanted to follow them from afar, but the guard of the Xue clan did not allow them to do so. They said that they should not disturb Xue Bugui and Xue Bugui. Lu Xia and the rest were naturally worried. The way Xue Bugui looked at Lu Yi was so lustful. If Lu Yi was not in their sight, how could they be at ease? Lu Xia was smart. He asked the other person to stay calm, while he snuck away with the excuse of urinating. He sneaked into the full moon pond from the other side to investigate. He saw Xue Bugui and Lu Yi drinking in a pavilion, but Lu Yi seemed to be a little drunk. His body seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Lu Yi did not dare to offend Xue Bugui. Perhaps she would accompany him for a few drinks, but she would never get drunk. There must be a big problem here. Lu Xia's heart was burning with anxiety, but he did not dare to rush over. He was afraid that he would be killed by Xue Bugui's palm strike. Xue Bugui was a warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm and the young island owner of the Blood Evil Island. Therefore, he ran towards the Lu family fortress at once, trying to find a patriarch to save the day. He happened to see Lu Li, so he was overjoyed. They had all heard about how Lu Li defeated Patriarch 9 in one move. There is indeed a problem. Lu Li's expressions became colder. The Lu family had been guarding against the Blood Evil Island in every way. Lu Yi had always hated Xue Bugui. How could she drink too much? He quickened his pace again. Since he was already not far from the full moon pond, he arrived in the vicinity in just half an incense stick of time. 3 warriors of the Blood Evil Island were blocking the entrance to the Plenilun Pond. Another warrior of the Lu family stood anxiously on the side, not knowing what to do. Lord Lu, seeing Lu Li rushing over with the Lu family, that man was overjoyed and shouted in surprise. The 3 warriors of the Blood Evil Island glanced over but thought nothing of it. Lu Li was only at the initial stage of the Spirit Sea realm, but the 3 of them were at the Spirit Sea realm, and one of them was at the middle stage. Lu Li put Lu Xia down and walked towards the Plenilun Pond in strides. Seeing the 3 blocking his way, Lu Li said in a cold voice, "I have something important to discuss with my family patriarch. Please move aside." Lu Li didn't want to make a big fuss if he didn't have to offend them openly. After all, the Lu family couldn't afford to offend the Blood Evil Island yet. The three escorts of the Blood Evil Island were all middle-aged men, wearing the blood-red armor of the Blood Evil Island. The three looked at each other. The warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm said, "Our young island owner is discussing something important with your family patriarch. We have just given the order that nobody can disturb them." Something is wrong. Li's heart tightened. What kind of business could Shue, Bugue, and Louis talk about? Even if they did, it would be Shue Cho talking to Patriarch 7. Li raised his eyebrows and said in a cold voice, "No matter how important it is, it cannot be as important as our family's business. I must see our family patriarch now. Get lost." Hearing Li's unkind tone, the three's expressions darkened. The escort at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm mocked. "What important matter can the Lu family have? Punk, you are quite arrogant, aren't you? What if I don't move aside?" The other two already had their hands on the hilts of their sabers. Their meaning was clear. If Li still dared to be arrogant, they wouldn't mind teaching him a lesson. Swish! Li made his move. He didn't have time to waste on these three's nonsense. He was very close to the three, only about 10 feet away. With such a short distance in his speed, he reached the three in the blink of an eye. He didn't bring his Heaven Kylan sword with him. He didn't need weapons to deal with warriors of this level. Li rushed over and punched at the warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm. Lu Xia and the other warrior were scared silly. Li was fighting with warriors of the Blood Evil Island just because of some disagreement. If Shue Cho was enraged, the Lu family would be destroyed. Courting death, the three warriors of the Blood Evil Island were enraged. How dare Li make the first move? However, Li was too fast. Seeing that his fist was about to hit the head of the warrior at the initial stage of the Spirit Sea realm, the warrior had no choice but to retreat. At the same time, he shouted angrily, "Stop him!" The other two understood. They used their bodies to block Li, giving the warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm a chance to unsheath his saber. Even though the two did not have time to unsheath their sabers, they still swung their unsheathed treasured sabers at Li. With his way blocked, Li couldn't attack the warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm. He had to smash his fists at the chests of the two warriors at the Spirit Sea realm. Li's strength was so great that his speed was not slow either. Neither of the two warriors could dodge. They were punched in the chest by Li. The two warriors didn't even have the time to hit Li with their unsheathed sabers. Crack! Two sounds of bones breaking came out. The two warriors were smashed away like broken sacks. Blood spilled out from their mouths, and they landed on the two sides of the road. They struggled for a bit, but could not get up. They were badly injured. Even if Li didn't use his bloodline skill, his strength was still horrifying. With the help of Xian energy, his strength was at least 25,000 pounds. If it were not for the fact that the two warriors were wearing armors, they would have been smashed to death. Courting death, the warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm in front of Li was enraged. He unsheathed his Xian artifact saber and rushed towards Li like a sharp sword. His saber glared, and there was a faint air current surging out. Li couldn't tell what Xian skill he had used. "Give me a weapon." Li had no weapon, and his opponent was at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm. Li dared not to be careless. He turned back and shouted. Lu Xia immediately unsheathed his saber and threw it at Li. With the saber in his hand, Li's momentum was soaring. He didn't have time to waste on this man. He released his bloodline skill at once. A glow came from his back, but it was covered by his robe. His muscles were bulging at a speed visible to the naked eye. His eyes glowed with silver light. Horrifying chi and energy came out from his body. He had transformed into a human-shaped dragon. The warrior of the Blood Evil Island who was rushing over in a frenzy was shocked. Li was just standing in front of him casually. He didn't even use his Xian energy. Yet he felt so pressured. He had a feeling that if he were to rush over, he would be hacked to death by Li in one move. P.S. It's up to you whether there will be 3 or 4 chapters, or even 5 chapters today. Bookmark, vote, comment, and tip. Please come to Genesis, Chi Dian, QQ Reading, and QQ Reading to support me. I want passion. Chapter 114. Moof. This feeling was forgotten by the warrior at the middle stage of the spirit sea realm of the blood evil island in an instant. Luli was not a bloodline warrior, nor did he take any pellets. How could he forcefully increase his battle prowess? The only explanation was that Luli was bluffing. He paused for a second. Then he mobilized his Xian energy and sped up. He jumped up high and hacked at Luli's head. More and more chi waves were surging out of this person's blade, making people unable to see where the blade was. It felt as though the blade could slash down from any angle. It was impossible to block. This was obviously a very good mystical skill. Unblockable? Then I won't block it. Luli swung his saber and hacked at the man's chest. Luli was fast, and he used all his strength. Perhaps the other party could strike his head with one strike, but he was absolutely confident that he could cut open the other party's stomach with one strike. He bet that the other party wouldn't dare to risk their lives with him, because in the other party's eyes, he was just an insignificant person. How could he possibly die together with him? As expected, a glint of coldness flashed in the eyes of the warrior of the blood evil island. In the end, he didn't dare to continue. He swung his saber horizontally, ready to knock Lu Li's saber away, and then slide his saber to cut off Lu Li's head. The result was self-evident. The strength of a warrior in the middle stage of the spirit sea realm was only tens of thousands of pounds. He changed his moves halfway, and his strength was weakened again. How strong was Lu Li? After releasing his bloodline divine skill, even if he didn't use the Thunder Rush mystic skill, he would at least be a few 100,000 kilograms. Bang! Under the dumbfounded gazes of Lu Xia and the other man, the warriors of the blood evil island flew away like kites with a broken string. His saber was knocked away, and there was a dent in the armor on his chest. Blood gushed out of his body as he flew through the air. Finally, he heavily smashed into the ground a few dozen feet away. He rolled a few times, and there was no movement at all. Lu Xia and the other man sucked in a breath of cold air. They were so nervous that their bodies were trembling. The two were shocked by Lu Li's fighting capacity. At the same time, they were worried that if Lu Li killed the warriors of the Blood Evil Island, how could the Lu family explain to the Blood Evil Island? Xiao. Lu Li carried his saber and ran towards the Plenilune Pond. He didn't even look at the three warriors of the Blood Evil Island. Lu Xia and Lu Li hurried to catch up. They glanced over and saw that the warrior at the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm was not dead, just in a coma. They were relieved and ran after Lu Li. The Plenilune Pond was not large, but the scenery was beautiful. It was one of the best scenic spots on the Blood Dragon Island. Lu Li glanced around casually and saw a pavilion by the pond. However, when he glanced at the grassland next to the pavilion, his killing intent surged out. Clan head, Lu Xia and the other man rushed over. When they saw the scene in the meadow, their eyes widened and their killing intent surged. A piece of rag was spread on the grass, and Lu Yi was lying on it. Her robe was torn in many places, revealing her snow-white skin in many places, and there was a bright red handprint on her face. Lu Yi was not unconscious. Her eyes were filled with rage and humiliation. At this moment, she was still struggling with all her might. However, her body was weak and limp, as if she was suffering from osteochondrosis, and there was no sign of profound energy. On the other hand, Shuebugue had already taken off his shirt and was riding on top of Lu Yi. One of his hands was holding onto Lu Yi's neck while the other was frantically tearing her clothes apart. Slap! Seeing that Lu Yi was about to grab him, Shuebugue gave her a slap. Another 5 bright red handprint appeared on Lu Yi's right cheek. Lu Li understood what was going on after he saw this, and what the Lu family said. Clearly, Shuebugue knew that there were not many patriarchs of the Lu family here today, so he brought Lu Yi to the Plenilune Pond, secretly drugged her, and wanted to have sex with her by force. Shuebugue had pursued her for so long that he must have lost his patience. He wanted to get her by force and make love. Once Lu Yi's body was tainted, what else could she do other than marrying him? The Blood Evil Island was so powerful. Even if this were to happen, the Lu family could not kill Shuebugue. By that time, Shuecho could come out and reprimand or punish Shue Bugue severely. Then he could smooth things over so that Shue Bugue and Lu Yi could get married. Then everything would be perfect. Luckily, I came in time. Lu Li secretly felt lucky. If he were any later, Lu Yi's chastity might be lost. Without saying anything, Lu Li rushed towards the pavilion like a gust of wind. He dragged Lu Xia's saber with him, and the murderous intent in his body surged. Shue Bugue sensed it. He looked over in rage. When he saw that it was Lu Li and the two escorts of the Lu family, he was surprised out of instinct. Then he said with rage, "Who let you come here? F***CK off." If it were Patriarch 7 and the others, Shue Bugue would be scared. But who was Lu Li? Who did these two guards think they were? His mind was filled with lust. He was about to get what he wanted, but it was ruined. Naturally, he was furious. Lu Li kept running without saying anything. Soon, he arrived at the grassland. Lu Yi showed a trace of joy in her eyes when she saw Lu Li. Then tears gushed out from her eyes like rivers. She was like a wrong child seeing her father courting death. Shue Bugue stood up in rage. He picked up a long sword from the side and unsheathed it. He pointed at Lu Li and said, F***CK off, or die. F***CK off. Lu Li cursed. He rushed over like a gust of wind, swung his saber, and hacked at Shue Bugue's head. Go to hell. Shue Bugue was enraged. He waved his Xian artifact long sword and created some sparks. His legs moved so fast that people could not see his footwork clearly. In an instant, he moved to Lu Li's left side and dodged Lu Li's attack. Xian's skill of body movement. Lu Li stopped. Shue Bugue had marvelous Xian skill of body movement. If Lu Li were to keep moving forward, he would be easily assassinated by Shue Bugue. Therefore, Lu Li decided to stay still and wait for Shue Bugue's attack. Shue Bugue didn't show any mercy. His long sword moved in an arc and twisted like a poisonous snake, aiming at Lu Li's waist. Lu Li didn't mind Shue Bugue's long sword. He swung his saber and swept at Shue Bugue. Just now, that warrior at the middle stage of the spirit sea realm of the blood evil island dared not to trade his life for Lu Li's. Shue Bugue's identity was more honorable. How could he die together with a nobody? Sure enough, Shue Bugue drew his sword back at once and dodged. He moved behind Lu Li like a slippery loach. Once again, his long sword stabbed at Lu Li like a poisonous snake. Lu Li didn't mind Shue Bugue's attack either. He swung his saber and swept back. Their weapons were about the same length. Lu Li's attack speed was fast. If Shue Bugue wanted to kill Lu Li, he would be hacked to death by Lu Li for sure. Shue Bugue was so upset that he wanted to vomit blood. It was the first time he saw Lu Li fight with his life for his own. Shue Bugue was not afraid of death at all. Every time, Lu Li wanted to die together with him. How could Shue Bugue, with his honorable status, risk his life against Lu Li? The next few attacks were the same. Shue Bugue was at his wit's end. He felt Lu Li was like a hedgehog that he couldn't bite. Swish! Just as Shue Bugue was frowning and trying to think of a way, Lu Li, who had been motionless, suddenly moved. Shue Bugue was caught unprepared and had no time to dodge. Chapter 115. Bang! A surge of powerful force came. Shue Bugue couldn't hold his sword anymore. He was frightened to see his sword was knocked away and Lu Li's saber pierced through. He quickly moved his feet and twisted his body to the back in an exaggerated way. At the same time, he kicked at Lu Li's hand with one leg. Even so, Shue Bugue's chest and abdomen still had a deep blood mark. Lu Li's saber was too fast. If it were not for the fact that Shue Bugue's body movements and Xian skill were good, he would have been cut open. Shue Bugue let out a miserable cry and rolled around on the ground. He was wearing soft armor, but he took it off. Otherwise, the saber couldn't have cut through his soft armor. He rolled around on the ground and got up. He looked at the deep blood mark on his abdomen and the surging wound. His eyes were filled with rage and pain, as well as deep fear. He just felt the breath of death. Luli was not joking. If he didn't dodge fast enough, he would have become a dead body by now. Shwebugwe had suffered and risked his life. When he was little, Shwecho was hunted down, and it lasted for many years. When he was little, Shwebugwe used to hunt wild beasts and shin beasts in the mountains by himself. He almost lost his life many times. However, ever since Shwecho became the island owner of the Blood Evil Island and brought Shwebugwe here, he never suffered any more pain or injury. He had been a young master for a long time and was used to living like a prince. Shwebugwe was afraid of death, therefore, when he saw Luli striding towards him with a saber in his hand, he showed a trace of fear in his eyes. Without saying anything, he left his weapon and soft armor behind. He covered the wound on his abdomen and ran away. You want to run? Luli really wanted to kill today. Looking at the tears in Lu Yi's eyes, Luli would kill her even if the god of heaven was here. It was wrong to bully a girl. Now he drug her, forcing her to have sex? He would kill such a scumbag even if it was a passerby, let alone his friend. Seeing that Shwebugwe was about to run, Luli didn't chase after him. He threw his saber at Shwebugwe's thigh. Hearing the sound of wind behind him, Shwebugwe immediately tried to dodge. However, he was injured. Luli's speed was too fast. Shwebugwe's thigh was hit. Shwebugwe let out another miserable cry and rolled around on the ground. Lucia and the other escort were trembling. Just now, Luli almost killed Shwebugwe. If he threw it any higher, Shwebugwe would have been pierced through. Luli walked over step by step and stood next to Shwebugwe. He looked at him coldly, as if he was looking at a dead man. He lifted his leg, and dark force shone on it. He was about to smash Shwebugwe's head with one kick. Don't kill me. You can't kill me. Fear came from the depth of Shwebugwe's soul. He felt Luli was like a shin beast without any feelings. He covered the wound on his abdomen with one hand and grabbed the long saber in his thigh with the other. With a trembling voice, he said, "If you dare to kill me, my father will definitely lead people to flatten the Blood Dragon Island. By then, all of the Lu family will die. It would have been better if Luli didn't mention this." As soon as he did, Luli became furious. He lifted his leg and kicked down. Luli was scared out of her wits. The efficacy of the pellet seemed to have weakened. She crawled up and shouted, "No, you can't kill him." Luli stopped. The Lu family hadn't bought the green dwarfs yet. Once Shwebugwe was killed, things would be irreversible. Shwecho would bring people over to flatten the Blood Dragon Island. At the very least, Luli would be killed. Hearing Lu Yi's voice, Luli's leg paused for a moment. Then he changed his direction and stepped on Shwebugwe's other leg. Crack! One of Shwebugwe's leg bones was crushed. He let out another miserable cry and almost passed out because of the pain. Luli moved his leg back and looked back at Lu Yi. She was shaking her head desperately. Her eyes were pleading, and she kept murmuring for Luli not to kill Shwebugwe. Looking at Lu Yi's tear-stained face, the killing intent in Luli's heart weakened, and he calmed down. He didn't look at Shwebugwe again. He walked over in strides, carried Lu Yi, and ran outside. Lucia and Shwecho were scared silly. They didn't know what to do. After a while, Lucia came to his senses and shouted, "Something is wrong. Go and report to Patriarch." The two didn't dare to stay here for fear that they would be killed by the furious Shwebugwe. They ran back to the Lu family fortress. The two patriarchs of the Lu family fortress were frightened when they heard the news. They hurried to the Plenaloon Pond to get Shwebugwe and several escorts back. Shwebugwe had lost too much blood and passed out. Luckily, he didn't die. He was saved after some treatment. The two patriarchs didn't dare to make the decision, nor would they let the warriors of the Blood Evil Island leave. When Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 came back, the two were scared as well. Of course, they were angry. Since something had happened, it must be solved. Patriarch 7 and the others had a discussion and asked Patriarch 9 to carry Shwebugwe and the others back. Also, they did it in a big way. More than 20 people went. Patriarch 9 brought people to carry Shwebugwe and the others back to the Blood Evil Island. He left them at the dock without giving any explanation. He only left a few words for Shui Cho to discipline Shui Bugui. The Blood Evil Island was shocked. How could their young island owner be hurt like this? Several patriarchs came after hearing the news. They asked the escorts what happened, but the 3 escorts faltered and didn't dare to tell the truth. Soon, Shuecho was alarmed. After some inquiries, Shuecho felt ashamed. Many patriarchs were angry. They clamored to kill their way to the Blood Dragon Island and beat the Lu family into submission. Right at that moment, Patriarch 7 came alone. Shuecho suppressed the patriarchs and received Patriarch 7 in embarrassment. Patriarch 7 apologized as soon as he arrived. He had been trying to persuade Lu Yi to marry Shui Bugui recently. Lu Yi was already a little tempted, but now that something like this happened, Lu Yi was completely heartbroken. He also said that Shui Bugui should take care of his wounds. Later, he would persuade Lu Yi to find a way for the 2 families to become in-laws. From now on, the Lu family would have to rely on Shuecho. If it weren't for the fact that the patriarchs didn't agree, Patriarch 7 would have joined the Blood Evil Brotherhood. Shuecho was embarrassed by Patriarch 7's mixed words. He sent someone to fetch many gifts for Patriarch 7 to bring back to apologize to Lu Yi. He also said that he would teach Shui Bugui a good lesson. Shui Bugui failed to rape Lu Yi. Lu Li cut open his stomach and broke one of his legs. It seemed that the 2 sides were even. But if it were Lu Li who had raped the lady of the Shui family, the Lu family would have been destroyed in an instant. The Blood Evil Brotherhood was strong, while the Lu family was weak. Patriarch 7 and the others had to resort to this method to compromise. They had to buy some time first. When the Lu family became stronger, they could get back at them. When Patriarch 7 came back, he immediately found Lu Li and Lu Yi who had recovered. He told them to bring the 6,000 blood caterpillar fruits to the Heaven Prison City tomorrow. 6,000 blood caterpillar fruits could be sold for 150,000 Xian crystals, which could be used to buy 2 green dwarfs. With 2 green dwarfs of the Soul Pond realm, the Lu family could at least put up a fight if the Blood Evil Island wanted to go to war. Okay. Lu Li nodded and agreed at once. When Shui Bugui recovered, he would think of a way to get back at the Lu family. With Shui Chao's help, Shui Bugui might not make trouble for the Lu family, but he would definitely make trouble for Lu Li. Chapter 116. Before dawn the next day, Lu Li and Lu Yi set off. This time, Patriarch 9 and 2 other patriarchs escorted them to the God-Down Island in person. But as soon as they got on the island, they went their separate ways. Once on the island, it would be safe. Whoever dared to make a move on the island would be the enemy of the God-Down Island. The 2 went directly to the God-Down City. They took the teleportation formation to the Heaven Prison City just after dawn. There were fewer people at this time of day, so taking the teleportation formation would not attract attention. After taking the teleportation formation twice, the dizziness was not so strong this time. There was only a slight feeling of nausea. The 2 didn't go to the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce right away. They found the tavern they stayed at last time and checked into 2 rooms to have some rest. Even though Lu Yi had recovered physically, she was still in low spirits. She had been quiet, and she didn't look well. Lu Li didn't know how to comfort her. He was too embarrassed to even mention it. After all, it would be rubbing salt on Lu Yi's wound. At noon, Lu Li knocked on Lu Yi's door. Seeing that she still didn't look well, Lu Li said, "How about you rest here? If you trust me, I will go and sell the blood caterpillar fruits by myself." How could Lu Yi not trust Lu Li? Without Lu Li, how could the Lu family grow the blood caterpillar fruits? She knew she didn't look well, so she nodded and went back to her room. Lu Li went to the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce with a big bag on his back. He went directly to the door on the left and asked to see Chief Steward Bai. Chief Steward Bai received Lu Li warmly. His eyes glowed when he saw the big bag on Lu Li's back. When Lu Li said that he had brought 6,000 blood caterpillar fruits with him, Chief Steward Bai gasped. "Your order is big. I need to ask for instructions from my superior. Please wait a moment." Chief Steward Bai smiled apologetically and left. Not long afterward, Chief Steward Bai came back with a beautiful lady. Lu Li's eyes lit up again when he saw the lady. Madam Yin was wearing a black silk dress today. Ladies rarely wore black dresses because it would make them look older. However, Madam Yin in the black silk dress made Lu Li feel she was too beautiful and sexy. Just like the others, she was wrapped up tightly. However, the seductive charm that came from her bones was enchanting. One look from her almost made Lu Li unable to stand it. Lu Li was afraid to look at Madam Yin. She smiled sweetly and said, "Hello, Brother Lu. We meet again." Lu Li raised his head and looked at Madam Yan's face. He didn't dare to look at her well-developed body. He smiled back and said, "Madam Yin, nice to meet you." Madam Yin looked at the big bag of blood caterpillar fruits. She nodded and said, "Brother Lu, you are really generous this time. 6,000 blood caterpillar fruits at one time. You are quite efficient. Not bad, not bad." Lu Li didn't respond, fearing that Madam Yin might get some information out of him. Madam Yin waved her hand and said, "Chief Steward Bai, take these fruits down and have them appraised. If there is nothing wrong, we will settle the bill with Brother Lu according to the original price." "Yes, madam." Chief Steward Bai left with the blood caterpillar fruits. Madam Yin didn't leave. Instead, she said with a smile, "Brother Lu, can you only grow blood caterpillar fruits in your place? Couldn't he plant other spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits? If you can grow good quality spirit grass and spirit fruits, we can also purchase them at high price. The rest of the spirit herbs and spirit fruits?" Lu Li was intrigued. The reason why the quality of the blood caterpillar fruits was so good was that the animal tooth pendant improved the blood. If there were other spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits that also needed to be watered with blood, wouldn't it be possible to grow them as well? Lu Li thought about it and said, "Madam Yin, are there any spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits that need to be watered with blood? We have a special formula that can improve blood. If there are such spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits, we can improve the quality." "Oh." Madam Yan's pretty eyes showed great interest. She just said it casually. She didn't expect that Lu Li could really grow them. She waved her hand and asked a maid to get another chief steward. After some questions, they found 2 kinds of elixirs that needed to be grown with blood: Fire Fairy Lucid Ganoderma and Netherworld Root. In order to grow these 2 kinds of elixirs, they must be watered with the blood of Xian beasts. The higher the rank of the Xian beast, the better the quality. After the chief steward explained the methods of growing the 2 kinds of elixirs, Lu Li rolled his eyes and said, "Okay, enough. We don't have the ability for now. We can think about it later. 1 seed of the 2 kinds of elixirs would cost more than 1,000 Xian crystals. Also, they needed the blood of at least 3rd-rank Xian beasts to grow. 3rd-rank Xian beasts were comparable to warriors of the Soul Pond realm. How could the Lu family catch them? If they were to buy them, where would they get so many Xian crystals? Also, wouldn't it cause a huge sensation if they bought so many 3rd-rank Xian beasts?" Madam Yin smiled lightly and asked the chief steward to leave. She looked at Lu Li and said, "Brother Lu, do you think we can cooperate? We will provide everything, and you will provide the formula. By then, if we can grow elixirs of high quality, we will split the profits in half." Half? This was too tempting. Also, he could immediately get on the boat of the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce. Who would dare to mess with him and the Lu family in the Thousand Island Lake in the future? Something is not right. Lu Li thought about it. He secretly put up his guard. There must be something wrong if something was out of the ordinary. Which family did the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce belong to? The old man of the Heaven Prison, the #1 overlord of the Thousand Island Lake. He was even the most important figure of the entire northern desert. The old man of the Heaven Prison had dominated the Thousand Island Lake for 2,000 years. How much wealth did he have? How many resources? Perhaps all the top-level treasured lands and resources of the Lu family belonged to the old man of the Heaven Prison. How much wealth did the Lu family have? Unimaginable. If so, why did Madam Yin want to cooperate with him? Cooperate with a nobody like him, a mediocre family like the Lu family? Even if they could grow some good elixirs, how many Xian crystals could they make? How many Xian crystals could the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce make in a day? Those green dwarfs could be sold for 50,000 Xian crystals each, not to mention anything else. Would Madame Yin care about the money she could make by cooperating with him? Luli thought about it and felt something was not right. If Madame Yin was not after the Xian crystals, then she must be after something else. For example, the animal tooth pendant he had, or his bloodline skill, or Lu Renwang. The more Luli thought about it, the more he felt it was unreliable. He thought about it for a while and said in a euphemistic way, Madame Yin, I need to think about it. I will go back and discuss with the patriarchs of the family. Thank you for your kindness. Madame Yan's eyes glowed. She had guessed many things from the changes in Lu Li's expressions. She didn't say anything. She stood up and said, Okay, if you want to cooperate, you can come to me at any time. I have something else to do. I will leave now. Wait. Lu Li thought of something and said, Madame Yin, I want to buy 2 green dwarfs from you. Well, I don't want you to give me a discount. I just want to know if you can send them over secretly for us. Madame Yin sat down again. She thought about it and said, Is 2 enough? Why don't I just buy 10? I will give you a discount. 40,000 Xian crystals for 1. I can send them over secretly and quickly. 10. Lu Li shook his head and said, We don't have that many Xian crystals. Also, we cannot afford to feed them now. Put them on credit. Madame Yin said disapprovingly, You can put the Xian crystals of the green dwarfs on credit. This time, you can sell more than 100,000 Xian crystals. It is enough to feed the green dwarfs. How could there be such a good thing in the world? How could you put hundreds of thousands of Xian crystals on credit? Lu Li said embarrassedly, You're not afraid that we will run away? Ha ha ha. Chapter 117. That's true. Lu Li touched his nose. Not even the 3 fifth-rank royal families had the guts to owe the old man of Heaven Prison family Xian crystals. Okay. Lu Li clenched his teeth and said, Thank you, Madame Yin. When we grow the blood caterpillar fruits, we will pay back the Xian crystals we owe you in batches. As for the interest, you can calculate it later and pay it back together. I will write a promissory note now. With the 10 green dwarfs, there is nothing for the Blood Evil Island to be afraid of. As long as the Goddown Island did not attack them, they would have the absolute ability to protect themselves in that area. No. Seeing that Lu Li was about to stand up and write a promissory note, Madame Yin put on a solemn expression. She looked at Lu Li seriously and said, No interest, no promissory note. But if I need your help in the future, Brother Lu, please don't put it off. Of course not. Lu Li stood up quickly and said, Madame Yin, I will return the favor in the future. Good. Come and visit me when you have time. You're always welcome here. Madame Yin stood up and left. Lu Li was in a daze. Madame Yin thought too highly of him. She lent him hundreds of thousands of Xian crystals just for a favor. Was his favor worth so much? When Madame Yin went back to her small hall, Chief Steward Bai came out. His sparse eyebrows were knitted together. He said with concern, Madam, don't you think too highly of Lu Li? You lent him 400,000 Xian crystals at once. If the family knew about this, they would look into it. Chief Steward Bai had sent someone to investigate the information about Lu Li and the Lu family. He had a complete grasp of the information. He even knew everything about the Wuling County. Even though Lu Li's rise was fast, Chief Steward Bai didn't think it was worth the Bai family's investment. What do you know? Madam Yin shook her head. She looked out the window and said, 400,000 Xian crystals. If Lu Li dares to ask for it, I can give it to him directly. If Lu Li is really that man's son, I will give him whatever he wants. That man? You mean Lu Renwang? Chief Steward Bai did not understand. Lu Li's parents had been missing since he was a child. There was not much information about his parents in the intelligence that he had investigated. He only knew that Lu Renhuang came from the outside and was a powerful warrior. That's right. Madame Yin nodded and said, If Lu Renhuang is Lu Renhuang of the Central Plains, then Lu Li's identity will be extraordinary. Have you heard of the most powerful bloodline of the Central Plains, the Lu family? Ah, Chief Steward Bai's aged body trembled. He said in disbelief, "You mean Lu Li is a disciple of the Lu family of the Central Plains? How is this possible?" "I'm not sure either." Madame Yin frowned and said with hesitation, "Lu Li has awakened the temple, but not the King Kong bloodline. I don't understand this. If he was a direct descendant of the Lu clan, how could he not awaken the King Kong bloodline? But Lu Li's sister was of Fire Phoenix birth? I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out." Chief Steward Bai was even more puzzled. After a moment of silence, he asked, "If he's a direct descendant of the Lu family, how could he have wandered outside for so many years? Lu Li's father has been missing for years. The Lu family will send someone to look for him. They can find Lu Li and his sister easily." "I don't understand that either." Madame Yin thought about it and waved her hand. "Don't worry about it now. Anyway, they have the ability to pay back the 400,000 Xian crystals. Let's do him a favor. If he is a disciple of the Lu family, we can build a good relationship." Chief Steward Bai nodded. He understood what Madame Yin meant. It was better to kill the wrong person than to let him go. Lending hundreds of thousands of Xian crystals to Lu Li was nothing for Madame Yin. Lu Li still had the ability to pay it back. On the off chance that Lu Li really was a direct descendant of the Lu family, this favor would be worth a lot. Lu Li got more than 100,000 Xian crystals. He settled everything with Chief Steward Bai, bought some Heaven Xian pellets, and went back to the tavern. After he told Lu Yi about the matter, Lu Yi's complexion became much better. However, it was just a moment of surprise. Lu Yi's expression darkened again. She looked at Lu Li and said, "Lu Li, does Madame Yin like you? Otherwise, why would she do you such a big favor?" Lu Li rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, "What are you talking about? She is a noblewoman of a super family. What am I? How can she like me?" Lu Yi thought it made sense. She was in a good mood. She thought about how the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce would secretly send 10 green dwarfs to the Blood Dragon Island. She blushed as if she could see a powerful Lu family rising up quickly. The two stayed at the tavern for a day and teleported back to the Goddown Island at midnight. They cultivated until dawn again before they left the county in a hurry. Just like last time, Patriarch 9 caught up with them before they reached the dock. Patriarch 9 and the others were so excited that they almost cried when they learned that the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce had lent 10 green dwarfs to the Lu family on credit. When the Lu family was at its peak, they only had 3 powerful warriors of the Soul Pond realm. Now that they had fled to the Thousand Island Lake in such a short time, the Lu family had 10 warriors of the Soul Pond realm. Patriarch 9 and the others felt like they were in a dream. It was too surreal. People looked at Lu Li in a different light. Even Patriarch 9 was more respectful when talking to Lu Li. Even though Lu Li was still the guest warrior of the Lu family, at this moment, he was more important than Lu Yi, the family patriarch. When they got back to the Blood Dragon Island, the news was sent to Patriarch 7 and the others. The patriarchs were so excited that they could hardly control themselves. Even though it would cost a lot of Xian crystals to raise the green dwarfs, as long as the Blood Dragon Island could be saved, the Lu family would be able to get a steady stream of Xian crystals with the help of blood caterpillar fruits. The Lu family would become more and more powerful. Soon, the glory of the Lu family could be restored. Lu Li walked out of the conference hall and asked Lu Yi to buy pellets for him to reach the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm. Then he went directly back to his attic in the Bamboo Hill to cultivate. For him, buying 100 green dwarfs didn't matter to him. His own strength was the most important thing. 100 green dwarfs would still be a third-rank force. If the Goddown Island were to attack, one warrior of the Fate Wheel realm could wipe them all out. It wouldn't make much sense. Without his own strength, even if he could bring 1,000 green dwarfs to a 5th-rank royal family, he wouldn't be able to become a guest warrior. He wouldn't be able to use the teleportation formation, go to the Central Plains, and save his parents. Now, Patriarch 7 and the others had no objection to Lu Li's request, let alone Lu Yi. They sent someone to the Goddown Island to buy a large number of pellets for Lu Li to cultivate. Of course, they also bought a lot of mystical materials painfully for the green dwarfs to eat. The alien races didn't eat food, only mystical materials. One green dwarf would eat mystical materials worth 30 Xian crystals a day. 10 green dwarfs would eat 300 Xian crystals a day, 3,000 Xian crystals for 10 days, almost 10,000 a month, more than 100,000 a year. Shuebugui's leg was broken by Lu Li, and he was badly wounded. Shuebugui would not let it go. This time, Lu Li and Lu Yi brought 6,000 blood caterpillar fruits to the Heaven Prison City. This would have a great impact on the sales of blood caterpillar fruits at the Blood Evil Island. The conflict between the Lu family and the Blood Evil Island was irreconcilable. A war could break out at any time. For the sake of everyone's lives, Patriarch 7 and the others had to make up their minds and prepare to support the 10 green dwarfs. They had to ensure the safety of the Blood Dragon Island first before they could make further plans. P.S. Chapter 5 is up. Chapter 118. One night, after 10 days, a mysterious man came to the Blood Dragon Island and found his way directly to the cabin on the bamboo hill where Luli lived. This person was actually Chief Stewardby. In just 10 days, the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce had sent 10 green dwarfs here, and Chief Stewardby had guaranteed that no information had been leaked. Luli was not surprised that Chief Stewardby could find him so easily. The Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce belonged to the Bai family, and the Bai family was the family of the old man of Heaven Prison. It was so easy for the Bai family to find someone of the entire Thousand Island Lake. Luli asked Chief Stewardby to send the 10 green dwarfs to the bamboo hill. After Chief Stewardby left, Luli went to find Patriarch 7 and the others. When everyone heard this, they all gathered inside the bamboo mountain. Looking at the 10 green-skinned dwarves in the night sky, they were all extremely excited. The green dwarfs were all implanted with soul worms and tamed. Chief Stewardby gave Luli 10 jade talismans. As long as he consumed the jade talismans, he would be the master of the 10 green dwarfs, and they would obey all orders. Luli threw the jade talisman to Lu Yi. Lu Yi used her Xian energy to refine it. She controlled a green dwarf to fight against Patriarch 7. Patriarch 7 couldn't even take one move from the green dwarf. The attacks of these green dwarfs were very simple. They relied on their lightning-fast speed and the sharp claws in their hands. If it wasn't for Lu Yi's quick control, the 7th Elder would have been killed by the claw. After confirming the combat power of the green dwarfs, everyone became even more excited, and they all felt much more confident. Elder 7 and the others discussed for a while and decided to hide the green dwarfs in the bamboo mountain first. At the same time, they set up restrictions around the bamboo mountain to prevent anyone from getting close. Now that the green dwarfs were exposed, it would be hard for the Lu family not to attract attention. This was the Lu family's hidden trump card. If it was suddenly used, it could be used as a surprise weapon. If it was exposed, it would only bring harm to the Lu family. Luli didn't mind. He didn't need to worry anyway. He just asked Patriarch 7 and the others to build the houses further away from him. The Lu family got busy again. They built 3 sealed castles in the bamboo mountain and put the green dwarfs in them. Some inhibition formations were set up outside the bamboo hill, and Luli was told that this was Lu Li's cultivation place and nobody was allowed to come close. The 7th Elder and the others were prepared to do something big. They found a new medicinal field near the bamboo mountain and the valley. It was also a valley, and they were going to plant blood caterpillar fruits on a large scale. Recently, Patriarch 7 had been visiting the Goddown Island to make friends with the bigwigs there. Xian crystals were poured out like water, and all kinds of gifts were given out. He made friends with 2 elders of the Su family who had real power. Patriarch 7's purpose was clear. He didn't want the Su family to help the Lu family. He only wanted the Su family to remain neutral when the Blood Evil Island attacked the Lu family. The herbal field was soon reclaimed, and blood rhinoceroses were bought in batches, as well as a large number of cultivation resources. All the family members of the Lu family had been brought over. Patriarch Lu had also gathered some disciples of the Lu family who had escaped. The entire Blood Dragon Island had become boisterous. The Blood Evil Island finally realized something was wrong. The Blood Dragon Island was near the Blood Evil Island. How could the change of the Blood Dragon Island escape the eyes of the scouts of the Blood Evil Island? In particular, the dozens of blood rhinoceroses by the sea were too obvious. There was no way for them to hide. Although Patriarch 7 would come over to chat with Shuecho from time to time, saying that he was working on Lu Yi's work and was preparing for her to marry Shui Bugei, Patriarch 7 did not dare to do so. But it had been more than a month since the day Shui Bugei broke his leg. Was she still considering? The Lu family sold a large number of high-quality blood caterpillar fruits to the market. There were only a few places of the Thousand Island Lake that could produce blood caterpillar fruits. Inevitably, the blood caterpillar fruits of the Lu family had impacted the Blood Evil Island. Over the past month, the Blood Evil Island's income of Xian crystals had dropped by several times. Blood caterpillar fruits were the lifeline of the Blood Evil Island. The patriarchs of the Blood Evil Island were in a panic because the blood caterpillar fruits could not be sold at a good price. Once the income of Xian crystals decreased, it would be fatal for the Blood Evil Island. Shuecho sent out a large number of people to investigate. Soon, they found the reason. They found that a large number of high-quality blood caterpillar fruits had entered the market. Their scouts went to the other 4 islands that produced blood caterpillar fruits to investigate. But they found that the days on those islands were even more difficult, and the blood caterpillar fruits were almost unsold. The people of the Blood Evil Brotherhood were not idiots. They thought about how the Lu family had bought so many blood rhinoceroses and how the disciples of the Lu family seemed to be living more and more comfortably. How could 2 patriarchs break through to the late stage of the Spirit Sea realm in such a short time? Shuecho did not believe that there was no ghost involved. Without a large amount of resources, it was almost impossible for patriarchs of the Lu family to make a breakthrough. They were still young. Only with a large amount of resources could they have the chance to make a breakthrough. During the Battle of the Wuling County, the resources accumulated by the Lu family over the years were wasted. Where could the patriarchs of the Lu family find the Xian crystals to buy high-level pellets to break through to the realm? Investigate. Shuecho ordered in rage. He sent out all the high-level scouts to investigate the Lu family. Soon, more suspicious points were found. There were 3 places on the Blood Dragon Island that had many inhibition formations. The scouts could not even get close. The residents on the island also responded that nobody was allowed to get close to those 3 places. Also, the Lu family would often bleed the blood rhinoceroses and send the blood to the 2 valleys. What was the blood of the blood rhinoceroses for? To grow blood caterpillar grasses, of course. Everything was clear. The high-level blood caterpillar fruits that entered the market were all grown by the Lu family. Shuecho and all the patriarchs flew into a rage. Many patriarchs clamored that they would destroy the Lu family at once. In Shuecho's eyes, the Lu family had become ungrateful. He took in the Lu family, but he didn't expect that the Lu family would cut off the lifeline of the Blood Evil Island. Someone send my order. Ask Lu Shanha and Lu Yi to come here. Tell them that I have something to discuss with them. Shuecho thought for a while and asked someone to send a message to Lu Yi and Patriarch 7. Unexpectedly, Lu Yi and Lu Shanha both politely refused, saying that they had too many things to deal with and that they would come back in a couple of days. Lu Yi and Patriarch 7 were not idiots. Recently, the scouts of the Blood Evil Brotherhood frequently entered the Blood Dragon Island. The Lu family had been aware of it. They also knew that they could no longer hide the truth. The Blood Evil Brotherhood was going to take action against the Lu family. How could they walk into the trap? The group of patriarchs of the Blood Evil Brotherhood flew into a rage again. They were going to dispatch troops to the Blood Dragon Island immediately. Shuecho, on the other hand, was concerned about his reputation. He was afraid that people would accuse him of biting the hand that fed him. Once again, he sent a message that if Lu Yi and Patriarch 7 didn't come, they would take back the Blood Dragon Island. Lu Yi and Patriarch 7 still didn't go. They just replied that they were willing to buy the Blood Dragon Island with Xian crystals and would offer 10,000 Xian crystals to the Blood Evil Brotherhood every month. For the Blood Evil Island, 10,000 Xian crystals was not a small amount. If it were under other circumstances, Xueqiu wouldn't go to war. The thing was, the Lu family had cut off the lifeline of the Blood Evil Island and robbed them of their livelihood. How could they come to an agreement? Also, Xueqiu wanted to get the secret recipe of growing blood caterpillar fruits from the Lu family. Xueqiu immediately issued an announcement that the Lu family had to leave the Blood Dragon Island within 3 days. Otherwise, the Blood Evil Brotherhood would take back the Blood Dragon Island by force. Xueqiu also announced that the Lu family, as an affiliated force of the Blood Evil Brotherhood, disobeyed their orders. They killed scouts of the Blood Evil Brotherhood and wounded Xue Bugue severely. Therefore, the Blood Evil Brotherhood had to send out troops to fight back. The war was on the verge of breaking out. P.S. Should we break out today? Chapter 119. In an elegant small side hall of the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce, Madame Yin was looking through some materials when Chief Steward hurried in and said in a low voice, "Madam, there is news from the God Down Island that the Blood Evil Island is going to attack the Blood Dragon Island." "Oh, got it." Madame Yin didn't even raise her head as she continued to look through the documents. Chief Steward frowned. He looked at Madame Yin and asked again in a low voice, "Madam, do you need someone to keep an eye on him?" Madame Yin raised her head, stared at Chief Steward and scolded, "Have you forgotten the rules set by our forefathers? The Bai family will not interfere in any disputes between forces at the Thousand Island Lake. Apart from massacring civilians on a large scale, the Bai family will not get involved." Chief Steward touched his nose in embarrassment and mumbled, "Didn't you say that Lu Li is a disciple of the Lu family? I am afraid that if Lu Li dies at the Thousand Island Lake, the Lu family will turn the Thousand Island Lake into a bloodbath when they find out." Chief Steward Bai's concern was not unreasonable. If Lu Li really was a disciple of the immediate Lu family, how could he die at the Thousand Island Lake? Once the Lu family knew, the Thousand Island Lake would suffer a bloodbath and the Bai family would be implicated as well. Madame Yin waved her hand and said, "Rules are rules. No matter how powerful the Lu family is, they have to be reasonable. Was it written on Lu Li's forehead that he was a disciple of the Lu family? Also, when did I know that Lu Li was a disciple of the Lu family? There are still many doubtful points that need to be confirmed." Lu Li had been to the temple, but he didn't awaken the Lu family bloodline. This was the biggest doubt. If Lu Renhuang was that Lu Renhuang from the Lu family of the Central Plains, how could Lu Li not awaken the King Kong bloodline? Chief Steward nodded his head, then asked tentatively, "So we don't care?" Madame Yin lowered her head and continued to read. After a while, she threw a document to Lu Li and said, "Go and get in touch with this man. Ask someone to send a message to him. Tell him that Lu Li is the son of Lu Renhuang." Chief Steward took the information and glanced at it. A trace of astonishment appeared in his eyes as he said, "It's him? Wait, madam, didn't you say you weren't sure about Lu Li's identity? Also, is there any special meaning in telling this person? Tell this person, and we can be sure if Lu Li is the son of Lu Renhuang." Madame Yin smiled mysteriously. She waved her hand and said, "Don't worry about the rest. When the war is about to begin, just let me know. That person is arrogant and unruly, always on his own, neither good nor evil. Will he care about this matter?" Chief Steward wanted to ask more, but when he saw Madame Yin looking down at the documents, he gave up. Madame Yin was the most outstanding person in the younger generation of the Bai family. She had her reasons for doing things. Chief Steward Bai just had to carry out her orders. As soon as the announcement was made by the Blood Evil Island, the Blood Dragon Island was shrouded in the clouds of war. Warriors of the Lu family were all nervous. This battle was inevitable. Even if the Lu family withdrew from the Blood Dragon Island now, they would still be hunted down. What the Blood Evil Island wanted was not the Blood Dragon Island, but the secret recipe of the Lu family to grow blood caterpillar grasses. If they could win this fight, the Lu family would have a firm foothold at the Thousand Island Lake. With the help of the blood caterpillar grass, the Lu family could develop rapidly and restore the glory of the Lu family. If the Lu family lost, there would only be two outcomes for the Lu family. Either the Lu family would be annexed by the Blood Evil Island, or the Lu family would be destroyed. Anyhow, the Lu family would cease to exist, and the fate awaiting Lu Li and Lu Yi would be miserable. Therefore, Patriarch 7 and the others were actively preparing for the war. Patriarch 7 went to the God-Down Island in person and brought 30,000 Xian crystals with him to two patriarchs of the Su family. He wanted to see if they could persuade the Su family to help. At the very least, they should stay neutral. Patriarch 9 also went to the God-Down Island with tens of thousands of Xian crystals to purchase pellets. He was going to buy some special pellets so that they could have a miraculous effect in the upcoming fight. He was also going to buy some special inhibition formations to assist in the fight. Lu Li and Lu Yi followed him secretly. Lu Li had reached the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm, but he consumed dozens of expensive pellets, the Heaven Xian pellets. Lu Li had thought that he had consumed too many Heaven Xian pellets. However, when he asked Lu Yi, he found out that his consumption was actually small. 3 patriarchs consumed hundreds of Heaven Xian pellets each in order to reach the later stage of the Spirit Sea realm. Last time, when Lu Li went to the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce, he brought back more than 100,000 Xian crystals. Later on, the Lu family expanded their farms and harvested 5,000 blood caterpillar fruits. Lu Yi and Patriarch 7 went to the Heaven Prison Island. Madame Yin didn't deduct any Xian crystals and brought back more than 100,000 Xian crystals. There were more than 200,000 Xian crystals in total, but more than half of them had been consumed. Lu Li reckoned that he would have to spend all his Xian crystals on this trip to the God-Down Island. Lu Li did not come to the God-Down Island to hang around. As one of the most powerful warriors of the Lu family, he must participate in the fight. He came to the God-Down Island to buy Xian artifacts. The Heaven Kylan sword was not a Xian artifact. For Lu Li's current fighting capacity, it was of little significance. If he could have a good Xian artifact, then his fighting capacity would be enhanced. The Lu family was not in need of Xian crystals. Naturally, they would need a good Xian artifact. Lu Li and Lu Yi did not go to the Su family Chamber of Commerce, nor to the branch of the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce of the God-Down Island. Instead, they went to a Chamber of Commerce called Xian Artifact Cabinet. The Xian Artifact Cabinet was quite famous. There were chambers of commerce not only at the Thousand Island Lake, but also at the entire northern desert. It was the property of a super family. The other families of the northern desert could not enter the Thousand Island Lake, but the Xian Artifact Cabinet had many connections. Somehow, they persuaded the old man of Heaven Prison to open a chamber of commerce at the Thousand Island Lake. What the Xian Artifact Cabinet sold was, of course, Xian Artifact Cabinet. Almost all the best Xian artifacts of the northern desert came from the Xian Artifact Cabinet. If Lu Li wanted a handy Xian artifact, this place would be his first choice. However, Lu Li was disappointed after he walked around the main hall of the Xian Artifact Cabinet. It was not that there were not enough Xian artifacts in the Xian Artifact Cabinet. There were 10 Earth-grade Xian artifacts in the main hall. Too bad, Lu Li didn't like any of them. He felt they were not suitable for him. There were several maids and 3 shopkeepers in the Xian Artifact Cabinet. One of them noticed the disappointment in Lu Li's eyes. She said with a smile, "Honorable guest, are you not satisfied with these Xian artifacts? What do you need? Can you tell me?" Lu Li thought about it and said, "These Xian artifacts are too light. I want heavy weapons." "Heavy weapons?" The smile on the shopkeeper's chubby face disappeared. He asked in a serious voice, "How heavy can a weapon be considered heavy?" Lu Li casually said, "At least more than 11,000 pounds? Do you have any? If not, I will go to other places." "Yes." The shopkeeper put on a smile, but he asked with confusion, "Many Xian artifacts can increase strength. Why do you want such heavy Xian artifacts? You know, it will be inconvenient to release Xian skills if the Xian artifact is too heavy. Luli knew nothing about Xian skills. The only Xian skill he knew was the rolling thunder. When he rushed to the Thousand Island Lake, all the Xian skills of the Lu family were lost. Luli never asked about it again after he asked Lu Yi about it. Luli waved his hand and said, "Don't worry about it. If you have it, show it to me. If not, then forget it. Please come with me." The shopkeeper made a gesture of invitation and led Lu Li and Lu Yi into a side hall. He called over one of his men and said, "Ask someone to bring the mighty heaven halberd here for our honorable guests to have a look." Halberd. Lu Li frowned. He was used to using a saber. He might not be used to using a halberd. However, since the shopkeeper had sent someone to get it, Lu Li was too embarrassed to leave right now. He had to take a look first. After a while, two people carried a huge iron box in. The iron box was more than 6 feet long and 30 feet wide. Lu Li and Lu Yi looked at each other. This weapon was too big. Open it and show it to our honorable guests. Chapter 120. The halberd was, in fact, a combination of a dagger axe and a spear. It had both a straight edge and a horizontal edge, in the shape of a cross or a BU. Therefore, the halberd could be used for many purposes, such as hooking, pecking, piercing, and cutting. Its lethality was better than that of a dagger axe or a spear. If it were an average halberd, Lu Li wouldn't feel comfortable using it, and he wouldn't like it. However, Lu Li fell in love with the mighty heaven halberd at first sight. An average halberd looked like a spear, but this one was more like a broadsword, a heavy sword. The halberd was more than 6 feet long. It didn't have a straight edge or a horizontal edge. It was a straight edge like a sword, but the top was flat, with a width of 1 foot. The blade was thick and heavy. It was made of strange cold iron with beautiful patterns on it. It looked gorgeous. To put it in a more direct way, the halberd was more like an iron ruler with blades on both sides. At the bottom of the iron ruler was a sword hilt that was more than 3 feet long. Lu Li walked over and grabbed the hilt of the mighty heaven halberd with one hand. He lifted it up slowly. His eyes glowed again. The halberd was really heavy, at least more than 11,000 pounds. Buzzing, Lu Li mobilized his Xian energy. The entire halberd glowed in a black light. The patterns on the halberd seemed to be moving about, very gorgeous and domineering. Swish, swish, Lu Li waved the halberd casually. A shrill sound came out in the air. The halberd turned into a blur. Lu Li said in surprise, "This mighty heaven halberd, ha ha." The tavern keeper said with a smile, "This halberd is the proud work of a master refiner of the Xian artifact cabinet. Even though it is only of the 3rd rank of the earth grade, he thinks the value of this weapon is above the 5th rank of the earth grade. Because there is a mysterious inhibition formation in the halberd. It can make use of the strength of the wind to speed up the halberd's attack." Sure enough, Lu Li's doubts were cleared. He just waved the halberd casually, and it was so fast. Soon his eyes became excited. Even though this halberd was not a saber, it was enough for him to exert all his abilities. It was the most suitable weapon he had seen so far. Seeing the excitement in Lu Li's eyes, the tavern keeper explained again, "The mighty heaven halberd weighs 18,000 pounds, and it is made entirely of heaven dipper iron. Other than a heaven-grade profound weapon, no other earth-grade profound weapon would be able to break the heaven-raising halberd. This halberd is the treasure of our branch. If it weren't for the two of you, we wouldn't have taken it out." The latter part was obviously nonsense. Seeing that Lu Li liked it, the shopkeeper was ready to raise the price. Lu Li could tell what the shopkeeper was trying to say, but Lu Li really liked it. She didn't waste time and asked, "Name your price." The shopkeeper cut to the chase and offered directly, 100,000 Xian crystals. SS. Lu Li and Lu Yi gasped. The price quoted by the shopkeeper was too high. This weapon could be exchanged for 2 green dwarfs. Lu Li could tell right away that the shopkeeper was trying to rip him off. He put down the mighty heaven halberd and said, "I can't afford it. Goodbye." Although he liked this halberd a lot, it didn't mean that he could be slaughtered like a pig. The Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce had a branch on the Goddown Island. He could go there to have a look. "Little brother, don't worry. I'm talking about the quoted price to the public. The shopkeeper stood up in a hurry and said with a smile, "A great sword deserves a hero. Is the halberd's good fortune that you like it? You have reached the middle stage of the spirit sea realm at such a young age. You must have a promising future. The Xian artifact cabinet wants to make friends with you. Fixed price, 50,000 Xian crystals." Lu Li and Lu Yi were speechless when the price was reduced by half. They looked at each other. Lu Li bargained directly, 20,000 Xian crystals. "I will leave if it is more than that." "Little brother, you are bargaining too hard. Even the cost of 20,000 is more than this," the shopkeeper said with a bitter face. Then he waved his hand and said, "Forget it. 20,000 it is. We at the Xian artifact cabinet want to make friends with you." Eh. Lu Li and Lu Yi looked at each other again. They felt they were fooled. Judging by the way the shopkeeper was acting, he would agree to 10,000, let alone 20,000. The two of them were still too green. On second thought, Lu Li understood. His price was indeed too high. The halberd was a Xian artifact of the third rank of the Earth grade. Usually, only warriors of the Spirit Sea realm could use Xian artifacts of this rank. It was not convenient for warriors of the Spirit Sea realm to use such a heavy weapon or use Xian skills flexibly. Therefore, the halberd was not easy to sell. Lu Li was taken advantage of today. Lu didn't mind. As long as Lu Li liked it, 20,000 Xian crystals was nothing. Since it was agreed, she didn't bother to bargain. She paid the Xian crystals directly. Lu Li carried the iron box out of the Xian artifact cabinet. "This iron lump is finally sold." The shopkeeper watched Lu Li and Lu Yi leave with a smile on the corner of his mouth. The mighty heaven halberd was indeed the treasure of the store. It had been in the store for 10 years without being sold. Today, he would sell it for 5,000 Xian crystals, let alone 20,000. In the afternoon, Lu Li and Lu Yi met up with several patriarchs. The pellets and inhibition formation artifact needed by Patriarch 9 had been bought. Things did not go well for Patriarch 7. The two patriarchs of the Su family accepted the Xian crystals, but they didn't say anything. They didn't say that they would help the Lu family in the fight. They didn't even state clearly that they were neutral. The Goddown Island was the overlord of the sea area with a radius of more than 300 miles. It was normal that they wouldn't make a clear statement. Now that the Xian crystals had been given away, everyone was a bit relieved. If the Goddown Island were to join the fight, then there would be no need to fight the battle. Everyone could just wait for death. The group sailed towards the Blood Dragon Island on the battleship. Patriarch 7, who had just gotten on the island, suddenly glanced to a small forest on the island. A trace of anger flashed in his eyes. Lu Yi, Lu Li, and the others looked over but found nothing. Lu Yi asked with confusion, "Grandpa 7, what is it?" Patriarch 7 explained in a low voice, "The scouts of the Blood Evil Island are hiding in that bush." Killing intent flashed in Patriarch 9's eyes. He said with strong, killing intent, "Brother 7, I will go and deal with it." "Forget it." Patriarch 7 thought about it and shook his head. "It is not convenient for us to do it. We will give Shuecho an excuse." Luli didn't take it seriously. Things had come to this. What was the point of consideration? The enemy scouts were hiding on the island. Their every move was known by the enemy. How could they fight the battle? Lu Li opened the iron box and took out his mighty heaven halberd. With his Xian energy glistening, he dashed towards the scouts like a ferocious tiger. He swung the 6-foot-long halberd and hacked at the bush. There was indeed a scout hiding in the bush. At first, the scout didn't dare to move. By the time he wanted to, it was too late. Lu Li's halberd, which was like the Grim Reaper's scythe, hacked the scout to death in an instant. "Little White, come out," Lu Li shouted in a deep voice. Little White sneaked out from his sleeve. Lu Li ordered, "Go and patrol the island. Find out the scouts on the outer island." Little White disappeared into the bush. Lu Li looked back to Patriarch 7 and said, "You can't do it. Let me do it. I will clean up all the scouts on the island for you." "Okay, Lu Li, be careful." Patriarch 7 nodded. As a matter of fact, it was not that he didn't want to clean up the scouts. The purpose of his words was to wait for Lu Li to make a move. In this way, if the situation could not be saved, Patriarch 7 could put all the blame on Lu Li. They could have a way out. P.S. Keep it up. There is one more chapter at night. The more powerful you are, the crazier the old demon can be. Chapter 121. With Little White's help, it was a piece of cake to find out the scouts. Little White was fast. It was small, so it could sneak in any place. Also, it had a good sense of smell. It found more than a dozen scouts at once. Luli followed it closely. He would kill all the scouts as long as they were not from the Lu family. He carried his mighty heaven halberd and treated the scouts as practice targets. Later on, he didn't even kill the scouts directly. He would only kill them after a long time with his mighty heaven halberd. After several hours, Luli came back at nightfall with his blood-stained halberd. Patriarch 9 took action with his men. He built many inhibition formations on the island, ready for the war. Patriarch Lu started to deploy hidden sentries to monitor every move on and off the island. Patriarch 7 and Lu E arranged for the Lu families to go to the Bamboo Hill where the Green Dwarfs were. There were many inhibition formations outside the Bamboo Hill. The Bamboo Hill was the safest place on the Blood Dragon Island. Patriarch 9 spent the whole night with his men. The inhibition formations outside the island were ready. The next day, they started to deploy more inhibition formations outside the Bamboo Hill. This war was very important for the Lu family. They had to go all out. All the blood caterpillar grasses in the two valleys were destroyed. The blood in the blood pond was drained. All the disciples of the Lu family went to the Bamboo Hill. A huge cave was dug out in the belly of the Bamboo Hill. All the Lu family members were hiding in the cave. Luli sat with his legs crossed in his cabin. After he stored hundreds of Xian power pellets in his spirit sea, he waved his halberd in front of the cabin to make himself more familiar with it. He was standing next to him with 10 jade talismans in her hands. The 10 green dwarfs were all under her control. Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 all had a fight, so they had no time to control the green dwarfs. She was nervous. Seeing Li waving his halberd leisurely, she somehow felt at ease. It seemed that as long as Li was here, there was nothing to worry about. He was wearing a pink dress with pink flowers embroidered on it. Her hair was tied up in a rose bun, making her look like a flower fairy. She stood there for a while and still couldn't help but ask, if the Lu family is defeated this time, you can run away by yourself. Li put away his mighty heaven halberd and asked why are you so unconfident? Li bit her lips and said, after all, the Blood Evil Island has been operating here for more than 10 years. I am worried. If things go wrong, you should just run away. You've helped the Lu family enough. You still need to find your sister. Li smiled and looked to the southeast. After a while, he said, don't overthink. We just have to try our best. The outcome is not important. If the Lu family is destroyed and we all die, it is God's will. There is nothing to say. My sister once said, once you step onto the path of martial arts, you will either soar to the sky and stand proudly at the peak, or death will be your final destination. Your sister is really open-minded. Li walked over and stood side by side with Li. She recalled that night at the Wuling County and Lu Ling's calm face. Recalling the scene where Lu Ling was burnt to a crisp, Li exclaimed, your sister is really an amazing woman. Li, don't worry. Maybe your sister will become a big shot in the Palace of Goddess soon. She will come back to you before you go to her. Speaking of Lu Ling, Li naturally put on a smile. He nodded and said, my sister will try her best to come back to me. As long as I am alive, I will try my best to find my sister. She has suffered too much for me. I will definitely become strong. If anyone dares to make her suffer even the slightest bit, I will destroy that person. Li looked at Li's determined face. Somehow her heart was pounding. At this moment, she was very envious of Lu Ling. If Li could treat her like Lu Ling, then how happy she would be. The night was coming. The Blood Evil Island gave them a deadline of 3 days. However, none of the warriors of the Lu family dared to sleep tonight. Night was the best time to launch a sneak attack. Li didn't sleep. He sat with his legs crossed and cultivated all night. At dawn, Patriarch Lu rushed back and shouted from the distance, "Here they are!" Patriarch Lu was the master of the Hall of Scouts of the Lu family. The meaning of the shout was clear. The enemy had come. Even a lion would use all its strength to fight a rabbit. Since the Blood Evil Brotherhood could stand on the Thousand Island Lake, they were not a bunch of good-for-nothings. They didn't underestimate their enemies. They chose to attack at dawn because they wanted to take down the Lu family at the lowest cost. Outside of the Blood Dragon Island, 10 battleships came quietly. Hundreds of people were on each battleship. Apart from the Patriarch and 500 warriors that were guarding the island, the rest of the Blood Evil Brotherhood came out in full force. There were 3,000 warriors in total. The 10 battleships didn't attack rashly. Instead, they spread out and quietly surrounded the entire Blood Dragon Island under the cover of the night. For warriors of the Soul Pond realm were in charge of each side to prevent the warriors of the Lu family from escaping. On a battleship on the east side, Xuecho was wearing a golden armor and an eye patch. The only eye he had left was filled with killing intent. After the scouts made sure that the other battleships were in place, he waved his hand and said, "Pass down my order. Act according to the plan." The scouts went to report. The 500 warriors on the 3 battleships got off and sneaked to the island under the cover of the night. From the other 3 directions, 500 warriors dashed down from each side. In total, 2,000 warriors were dispatched. Xuecho himself didn't move. One of the 3 warriors of the Soul Pond realm came out, and the other 2 stayed on the battleships. As far as Xuecho was concerned, the Lu family had no warriors of the Soul Pond realm and only more than 10 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. 1 warrior of the Soul Pond realm and 2,000 warriors were enough. This time, they sent out so many warriors because they didn't want to let anyone of the Lu family escape. They must get the secret recipe for growing blood caterpillar fruits. Otherwise, 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm would be enough to wipe out the Lu family. Looking at the warriors swarming towards the Blood Dragon Island, Xuecho put on a cruel smile. There was a glint of excitement in his one eye. When he got the secret recipe for growing blood caterpillar fruits of the Lu family, the Blood Evil Brotherhood would rise quickly. Maybe in several years, it could become a 4th-rank force. Ah! Miserable cries pierced through the night sky. The smile on Xuecho's face froze. He shouted in rage, "What is going on?" Whoosh! A scout rushed over and reported, "Island owner, there are many inhibition formations on the Blood Dragon Island. It is the Toxic Dragon Formation. Dozens of our men died, and over 100 were wounded." Dozens? Xuecho's mouth twitched. He was distressed. There were inhibition formations here, so there must be more in other directions. If dozens died on one side, then there would be 100 or 200 on the other 4 sides. "Send my order. Retreat now." Xuecho waved his hand, and several scouts immediately went to deliver the order. They thought it would be easy to sneak attack at night. Little did they know that the Lu family had already made arrangements. Since sneak attack was impossible, then they would just have to force their way in. It was too dark now. Many inhibition formations could not be found. They had to wait for daybreak to take action. The Blood Dragon Island was surrounded anyway. Not a single one of the Lu family could escape. When the scouts at the front retreated, Xuecho thought about it and ordered again, "After daybreak, let 2nd Patriarch do it himself. Kill everyone except for Lu Yi and Lu Shanha. Spare no one." For the sake of prudence, Xuecho decided to send out another powerful warrior of the Soul Pond realm. Chapter 122. A ray of multicolored light lit up the eastern sky, illuminating the entire eastern sky. Dawn had broken. Outside the Blood Dragon Island, 2 old warriors of the Soul Pond realm slowly unsheathed their weapons. They were followed by 1,000 warriors respectively. Xuecho changed his strategy. He asked the 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm to attack from the left and the right. Xuecho and the other warrior of the Soul Pond realm surrounded the Blood Dragon Island. Once anyone tried to break out, they would be killed mercilessly. Of course, as far as Xuecho was concerned, nobody could break out. 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm led 2,000 warriors, including almost 100 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. How many warriors did the Lu family have? Including the old, the weak, women, and children, there were only 3,000 or 4,000 warriors. The number of warriors was even less. Including those that came back later, there were less than 300 warriors and only more than a dozen warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. The disparity in strength was too great. Buying some inhibition formations and building some inhibition formations wouldn't affect the overall situation. With warriors of the Soul Pond realm leading the teams, those inhibition formations wouldn't mean much. The inhibition formations that could be bought were not powerful. At best, they could only hurt warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. Patriarch 2 and Patriarch 3 of the Blood Evil Island thought the same. They led the teams separately. Along the way, they found many inhibition formations. Warriors could just take a detour or destroy them easily. Warriors of the Soul Pond realm had soul ponds in their souls. Their souls were many times more powerful than those of the Spirit Sea realm. Hearing, sight, smell, and perception were many times more powerful than those of the Spirit Sea realm. Many hidden inhibition formations could be found and seen through easily. Realms could crush people to death. Each realm was much more powerful than the previous one. Basically, it was hard for warriors of higher realms to kill enemies of higher realms. It was getting brighter. The 2 teams were more than a mile into the island. Many inhibition formations were destroyed. Another mile, and they would arrive at the Lu family castle. However, Patriarch 2 and Patriarch 3 of the Blood Evil Island were more cautious. In front of the 2 teams appeared dense woods. The Lu family castle was surrounded by woods, which they had known for a long time. Ambushes could happen in woods. Granted, the Lu family had too few warriors, and it was hard to say who would ambush whom. Still, it was better to be careful. The 2 of them took the lead and charged into the forest. After carefully checking the surroundings and confirming that there were no ambushes, they continued forward. As they walked, the 2 elders realized that something was wrong at the same time because there was suddenly a fog. At first, the 2 of them thought that it was morning fog and did not pay much attention to it. However, the fog grew thicker and thicker. Even with their eyesight, they could only see a distance of 300 jong. Something's wrong. The second patriarch of the Blood Evil Brotherhood exclaimed. He roared, "Everyone, gather around me. Don't get separated." On the other side of the forest, the 3rd elder immediately asked everyone to gather around him. There was definitely something wrong with this fog. It was very likely that it was a type of fog formation that they had heard of. Illusory fog array. This kind of spirit array restriction was very common. Many large sects often set up such spirit array restriction outside their headquarters to prevent outsiders from seeing the situation inside their sections. However, this kind of restriction formation required a lot of Xian crystals to set up. Apart from showing off, it was not very useful. It could not trap or hurt the enemy. Therefore, many forces would not spend so much money to buy this kind of magic matrix. It was unexpected that the Lu family would spend so much money. However, this island was small, so the number of formation stones needed was not much. He estimated that it would only cost tens of thousands of Xian crystals. There must be something wrong with this abnormal situation. The Lu family would not throw tens of thousands of Xian crystals into the water. The 2 patriarchs asked people to gather around them immediately. In this way, the Lu family would be at their wits' end. Tut, tut, tut. Right at this moment, there came many sounds of something piercing through the air. The fog was too thick to see clearly. However, the 2nd patriarch sensed danger instinctively. He shouted angrily, "Watch out! Retreat! Retreat now! It's arrows! The arrows are poisonous! Everyone watch out! You've bumped into me! Don't panic! Don't panic! Get out of the forest!" The 2nd patriarch's angry shout did not work. Soon, there came many miserable cries. Arrows filled the sky. These arrows were poisonous. They were fast and powerful. They could even pierce through the armor of ordinary warriors of the Blood Evil gang. Miserable cries came from everywhere. There were noises, curses, and people shouting to retreat. The 1,000 people were in a mess. The visibility was too low. They could not see clearly what was going on around them. Instinctively, they were scared. Similarly, the third patriarch was in the same situation. Countless arrows were shooting at them. Their team was in a mess at once. "What are you doing? Follow me," second patriarch shouted angrily. He checked. There were 70 or 80 arrows. It meant the Liu family had sent out 70 or 80 warriors. They might be more than half of the warriors of the Liu family. If the third patriarch also had so many warriors, all the warriors of the Liu family would have been sent out. If they could kill all of them, what other tricks could the Liu family play? Second patriarch rushed forward in a rage. As he rushed forward, he felt something was wrong. There were hundreds of people running towards him. This confused second patriarch. How could the Liu family have so many warriors? Damn. When he saw clearly the people in front of him, second patriarch flew into a rage. There were indeed hundreds of people rushing towards him. However, they were the natives of the Blood Dragon Island. Those people were all crying. While running, they shouted, "Lords, please spare our lives. We have no choice. If we don't run, the Liu family will kill us." The forest was covered with white fog. The hundreds of people blocked the way. When second patriarch rushed through the crowd, the Liu family had disappeared. Swish! However, second patriarch could still vaguely hear something on the right front. A cold light flashed in second patriarch's eyes. Looking at the 5 hall chiefs of the Spirit Sea realm following behind him, he waved his hand and said, "Go after them." The 70 or 80 warriors of the Liu family were just ahead of him. As long as he could catch up with them, second patriarch believed he could kill all of them by himself. There were too few warriors of the Liu family. Once this group of people was killed, the outcome would be determined. Second patriarch led the 5 to run at the top of his speed. After a while, he saw some shadows flashing in front of him. "Still want to run?" Second patriarch shouted and sped up again. He found a man. When he got closer, he found it was Patriarch 9 of the Liu family. It was normal to see Patriarch 9. What was abnormal was that there was only Patriarch 9 in front of him. There was no one else, luring the tiger away from the mountain. Second patriarch felt something was wrong. His eyes flickered and he was about to turn around. However, Patriarch 9 suddenly stopped. He turned around, looked at second patriarch, and said, "Zhang, you old dog, are you scared?" The word Zhang, you old dog, enraged second patriarch. He roared and rushed over. The long sword in his hand glowed in golden light. He released a streak of Xian energy through the air. Swish! Patriarch 9 moved and dodged to the left quickly. He dodged the Xian energy attack easily. His speed was as fast as a ghost. The 5 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm who were chasing after Zhang were shocked. "What are you looking at? He just swallowed a wind pellet, didn't he?" Zhang sneered. He was experienced and knowledgeable. He could see through it easily. He shouted to the warriors of the Spirit Sea realm, "Surround him and kill him." Patriarch 9 was one of the most powerful warriors of the Liu family. Since he wanted to die, Zhang thought it was necessary for him to fulfill his wish. What second Patriarch Zhang and the warriors of the Spirit Sea realm of the Blood Evil Island didn't know was that in the bushes hundreds of feet away from them, a jade talisman in Lu Yi's hand suddenly broke. Patriarch 9 had sent a signal. Chapter 123. For today's fight, patriarchs of the Liu family held several meetings and worked out several strategies. The Blood Evil Brotherhood only sent 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm to the island. This was the best outcome. As long as the 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm could be killed, the Blood Evil Brotherhood would have a hard time to turn the situation around. The Liu family had 10 green dwarfs that were as powerful as warriors of the Soul Pond realm. To kill 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm was a piece of cake. They just needed to distract the 2 and send 5 green dwarfs to kill them respectively. Patriarch 2 of the Blood Evil Brotherhood, Zhang, had been chasing Patriarch 9 all the way here. His fate was sealed. Patriarch 9 took a wind pellet, which increased his speed to that of a warrior of the Soul Pond realm. He led Patriarch 2 to where Lu Yi was hiding. Here they are. Sensing the noise in front of her and seeing Patriarch 2 following Patriarch 9, Lu Yi was so excited that her body was trembling. Through the grasses, she made sure it was Zhang Hai. She waved her hand and said, "Go and kill that golden-armored old man." Whoosh! The green dwarfs were alien races in the small world. They had been tamed by the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce for some time and could understand the language of the northern desert. A green light flashed on the 5 green dwarfs, and they shot out like 5 green arrows. Ambush! When Zhang Hai approached Lu Yi, he had already noticed something was wrong. Seeing the 5 streaks of green light, he finally understood what the Lu family was relying on. Whoosh! He threw a signal detonator into the air. He didn't send the signal to ask Xueqiu and the others to rescue him. Instead, he wanted to tell the Blood Evil Brotherhood that he was dead. That was right. The moment he saw the 5 green dwarfs, Zhang Hai knew he was doomed. He once went to the small world and fought against the green dwarfs, so he knew the strength of the alien races. If there were 2 or 3 of them, he might have a chance to escape. But 5, he would die for sure. Hoi! He was not willing to die like this. His beard and hair danced in the air. The golden armor on him glowed. He waved his sword in his hand, shooting out rays of sword light. Boom, boom, boom. Many trees were hit by the Xian energy and were cut in half. 2 green dwarfs were hit. However, the moment they were hit, green scales appeared on the bodies of the green dwarfs, which blocked Zhang Hai's Xian energy. The Xian energy only broke some scales. Go! Seeing Zhang Hai going crazy, Patriarch 9 rushed over like a gust of wind. He grabbed Lu Yi and quickly retreated. If Lu Yi didn't leave, she would be dragged to the grave by Zhang Hai. The 5 green dwarfs surrounded him. Their speed was so fast that one could only see streaks of green shadows like 5 malicious ghosts. The 5 of them only had one method of attack, which was to rely on speed and the green claws in their hands. If there were only 1 or 2 green dwarfs, it would not be a problem. However, the continuous attack of 5 green dwarfs was something that Zhang Hai could not defend at all. One of the green dwarfs attacked and immediately retreated. He went to attack the green dwarf, but the other green dwarf attacked again. Ghostly shadows flashed all around him. In just a few moves, he had more than 10 scratches on his body. Zhang Hai roared furiously. He no longer attacked any green dwarfs. Instead, he kept shooting out sword lights. His long sword danced in the air and swept around. He wanted to take 1 or 2 green dwarfs with him before he died. The effect of his attack was quite good. The arm of a green dwarf was hit, and the green scales on its arm were shattered. Then the green dwarf was hit again. One of its arms was cut off. Green blood spilled all over the ground. The green dwarf cried out in pain. Swish! A green dwarf jumped onto a tree. Then it dashed down in a flash and grabbed Zhang Hai's head. Zhang Hai's head exploded. Finally, he died. Not long after the signal detonator exploded in the air, Patriarch 2 of the Blood Evil Brotherhood was killed. The cruelty of the green dwarfs could be seen. Of course, if Zhang Hai were attacked by 5 warriors of the Soul Pond realm, he would have died before the signal detonator exploded. Patriarch 2, 5 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm rushed over from the distance. They happened to see Zhang Hai's head explode and his body fall down. The 5 warriors looked at the 5 green dwarfs in surprise, wondering what kind of monsters they were. Green dwarfs. One of them finally came to his senses. He waved his hand and said, "Retreat. It's too late." Patriarch 9 came back with Lu Yi. Lu Yi ordered with strong killing intent. Kill them. The 5 green dwarfs rushed over like a gust of wind. The 5 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm who were just about to run were scared out of their wits. Even Patriarch 2 of the Soul Pond realm was killed in an instant. Could they run away? Boom! A signal detonator exploded in the sky in the west. Patriarch 9 and Lu Yi looked at each other and smiled. It seemed that Patriarch 9 and Lu Li at the west had succeeded as well. Otherwise, Patriarch 3 of the Blood Evil Island wouldn't have released the signal detonator. Lu Yi gave 5 of the 10 green dwarfs to the other side. The green dwarfs would follow the orders of whoever had refined the jade talisman. It was easy to control them. "All of you attack," Patriarch 9 shouted. Dozens of people rushed over from the left. They were the warriors of the Lu family that were lying in ambush. The Patriarch of the Soul Pond realm of the Blood Evil Island was dead. They had 5 green dwarfs to clear the way. Even though there were nearly 1,000 warriors on the side of the Blood Evil Island, they were nothing to the Lu family warriors. Bang, 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 bang. The bodies of the 5 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm soon turned into minced meat under the sharp claws of the green dwarfs. Lu Yi controlled the 5 green dwarfs to rush towards the main force of the Blood Evil Island. In the dense forest to the west, there were still 5 green dwarfs under Lu Li's control. Lu Yi was right. Patriarch 7 used the wind pellet to lure Patriarch 3 of the Blood Evil Island over. Patriarch 3 was easily killed by the 5 green dwarfs controlled by Lu Li. Lu Li. Patriarch 7 rushed over with a group of people and shouted to Lu Li. Lu Li dragged his mighty heaven halberd upside down and held the 5 tokens in his other hand. He shouted to the 5 green dwarfs, "Follow me." He ran forward in strides, and the 5 green dwarfs followed him closely. The mist was so thick that nothing could be seen in the distance. However, Lu Li didn't mind it at all. Patriarch Lu had been probing with several top-level scouts. If Xueqiu and the others made any moves, Patriarch Lu would inform them as soon as possible. As long as Xueqiu didn't move, what was there to be afraid of? Soon, they got close to the main force of the Blood Evil Island. It was not as chaotic as before, but Patriarch 3 was lured away to be killed. Without a commander, these people didn't know whether to advance or retreat. "Someone is here." Hearing the sound of Lu Li running, several warriors of the Spirit Sea realm were on alert. They drew out their weapons, ready for battle. Swish, Lu Li took the lead and rushed over. Warriors of the Blood Evil Island were surprised to see Lu Li. Was this man an idiot? A man came to seek his own death. Kill. 3 warriors of the Spirit Sea realm rushed over. One of them was at the latter stage of the Spirit Sea realm, but Lu Li was not afraid at all. He released his bloodline skill at once. His eyes glowed with silver light. His eyes were as cold as a beast's, making people's hearts palpitate. Lu Li didn't use any fancy moves. When the warrior at the latter stage of the Spirit Sea realm rushed over, Lu Li swung his mighty heaven halberd and hacked at him. There was an inhibition formation in the mighty heaven halberd that could speed up his attack. After Lu Li released his bloodline skill, his strength was already horrifying. Naturally, his speed was fast. Before the warrior at the latter stage of the Spirit Sea realm could react, the mighty heaven halberd was already enlarging in his eyes. The speed of the halberd was so fast that the warrior had no way to dodge. The halberd was more than 6 feet long. He couldn't even fight back. All he could do was to defend with his saber. Lu Li didn't even know how strong he was now. He had reached the middle stage of the Spirit Sea realm, and his strength had increased a lot. Releasing his bloodline skill and the rolling thunder shin skill could both increase his strength. The result was self-evident. With a muffled sound of collision, the saber of the warrior at the latter stage of the Spirit Sea realm was knocked away. Then his head was smashed by the halberd and exploded into a mist of blood. "Anyone who stands in my way will die," Lu Li roared. He continued to rush forward like a horrifying shin beast. Chapter 124. Oh, the corner of Patriarch 7's mouth twitched. He saw a warrior at the latter stage of the Spirit Sea realm being hacked to death by Lu Li's halberd. Also, he was only at the later stage of the Spirit Sea realm. Did it mean that Lu Li could kill him with one move as well? Kill all the warriors in blood-red armor and golden armor, Lu Li shouted. 5 green shadows flew over from behind him and dashed into the crowd in the form of 5 ferocious ghosts. Countless screams rang out as the cultivators were easily grabbed to death. The 7th Elder and the others were even more frightened when they saw this. Xianwu realm warriors, go back. Spirit Sea Realm warriors, follow Lu Li. The Seventh Elder's original plan was to lead a group of people to attack, but now it seemed that there was no need for that. Also, if too many warriors of the Lu family rushed over, they might be mistakenly killed by the Green Dwarfs. He asked the warriors of the Xianwu realm to step back and went after Lu Li with several warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. If they followed Lu Li, they would not be killed by the Green Dwarfs by mistake. The most important thing was that Lu Li was too ferocious. Be it warriors of the Xianwu realm or the Spirit Sea realm, he could kill them with one halberd strike. Wherever his heaven-raising halberd passed through, there would be blurry corpses. There were no complete corpses left. Retreat. Quickly retreat from the island. Run. These green men are as powerful as warriors of the Soul Pond realm. We cannot stop them. Run, run. The fog was so thick that visibility was too low. Many people could only see a green shadow flashing by before they were decapitated. In such a short period of time, at least 100 people had died. The rest of the people were scared out of their wits and fled frantically. Several warriors of the Spirit Sea realm of the Blood Evil Island wanted to stop Lu Li and the Green Dwarfs for a while, but they realized that they could not. Lu Li was as brave as the Green Dwarfs. His mighty Heaven Halberd was like the Grim Reaper's scythe. Lu Li was in a killing frenzy. With the 5 Green Dwarfs, he went on a rampage and killed anyone he saw. Patriarch 7 and the others followed Lu Li to their heart's content. It was as easy as slaughtering livestock. By the time Lu Li and the others rushed out of the forest, there were less than 300 or 400 of the 1,000 warriors of the Blood Evil Brotherhood left. More than half of the warriors of the Spirit Sea realm were either dead or injured. Lu Li was in a similar situation. Only 400 or 500 escaped. With the Green Dwarfs leading the way, it was too easy for Patriarch 9 and the others to slaughter. Hundreds of warriors of the Blood Evil Island were slaughtered easily. Xiao. Outside the western island, Xueqiu led a group of people and rushed into the island. Before he could rush out of the forest, he saw countless people fleeing in panic. Their faces were filled with fear and terror. What's going on? Where's Third Elder? Xueqiu roared furiously. When he saw the 2 signal flares, he felt something was wrong. With the battle prowess of the 2 elders, if they didn't encounter a situation where they would definitely die, why would they release the signal flare? I don't know. Green Ghost Shadow. How terrifying. So many of us have died. Island Lord, let's leave quickly. Those green men are too terrifying. Let's retreat first, or we'll all die, a few people roared. Xueqiu was so angry that he wanted to rush into the forest, but now he hesitated. He waited for a while and saw many people running away in fear. Finally, he decided to stay outside and see what was going on. The dense forest was filled with white fog. Who knew what was going on inside? After waiting for a while, no one had escaped from the forest. Xueqiu glanced around and was shocked. Only 300 to 400 people escaped. Third Patriarch and many warriors of the Spirit Sea realm were nowhere to be seen. Did they all die in the battle? Rustle, rustle, rustle. A light sound of footsteps came from the forest. A young man, dragging a halberd, came out of the forest. He stood outside the forest, looked at them, and said, Xueqiu, you are the Island Lord of the Blood Evil Island. How can you just watch your men being killed? You are such a coward. Xueqiu didn't have a deep impression of Lu Li. He just looked familiar. Xue Bugue, who was next to him, shouted in rage, Father, he is Lu Li. Kill him now. Kill me? Lu Li smiled coldly. He turned around and walked towards the forest. After he entered the forest, he looked back and said, Your father doesn't have the guts. He is a coward. Xueqiu's won. I was about to burst into flames, but he forced himself not to lose his temper. He didn't go after Lu Li. Instead, he waved his hand and said, Go back to the battleship first. Retreat. Lu Li, just you wait. Xue Bugue shouted with his teeth clenched. He was not an idiot. Soon he figured it out. Today's situation was too strange. The situation was unclear. If Xueqiu had brought his men with him, they might all be wiped out. After Xueqiu left, Lu Li, Patriarch 7, and the others walked out of the forest. Patriarch 7 asked with confusion, "Luli, why didn't you go after him with the green dwarfs? If you had gone out just now, you might have killed Shuecho." "That is not possible." Luli shook his head and said, "The terrain out there is open. Shuecho is too far away from the forest. If he had sent his men to intercept the green dwarfs at the risk of their lives, he could exhaust the green dwarfs easily by releasing his Xian energy. Once all the green dwarfs were dead, we would be dead as well." "That makes sense." Patriarch 7 nodded. Just now, Luli tried to provoke Shuecho, but Shuecho didn't fall for it. If Shuecho had gone into the forest, it would have been perfect. Oh no! Patriarch 7 suddenly remembered something. His expressions changed. He shouted, "Send a message right now. Tell our family patriarch not to be rash. Don't go after him with the green dwarfs out of the forest." On Lu Yi's side, there was another warrior of the Soul Pond realm outside the island. If Lu Yi acted rashly and rushed out with the green dwarfs, what if she was killed? The green dwarfs were the foundation of the Lu family. They could not be lost. A patriarch hurried to the east. Lu Li and Patriarch 7 dared not to leave. They kept a close watch on Shuecho and the others. After the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, that patriarch of the Spirit Sea realm came back. He reported helplessly, "I am late. Our family patriarch and Patriarch 7 have gone out with the green dwarfs. Even though we killed more than 300 warriors of the Blood Evil Island, but we lost 2 green dwarfs." What a fool. Patriarch 7 felt his heart aching. That was 100,000 Xian crystals. Luckily, only 2 green dwarfs were lost, which did not affect the overall situation. Swish! A scout ran over from the distance and reported, "Shuecho has retreated." Patriarch 4 of the Blood Evil Island at the east has also retreated. It looks like they're going back to the Blood Evil Island. Several patriarchs looked at each other and then turned to Patriarch 7. One of them asked, "Patriarch 7, what should we do? Should we bring someone with us and kill our way to the Blood Evil Island?" Patriarch 7 was tempted. They still had 8 green dwarfs. If all the patriarchs charged together and killed Shuecho and the other 2 patriarchs, the Blood Evil Island would be replaced by the Lu family in the future. "If you want to go, you go." "I'm not going." Luli poured cold water on the idea. He said coldly, "If you want to court death, then go." "Luli, what do you mean?" One patriarch got angry at once. Patriarch 7, on the other hand, calmed down. He waved his hand to stop the patriarch from going on. Patriarch 7 thought about it and nodded. Lu Li is right. The Blood Evil Island has been under Shuecho's management for many years. He must have set up all kinds of inhibition formations. If we enter the Blood Evil Island rashly, all kinds of accidents may happen. It is true that the green dwarfs are powerful, but didn't we kill 2 of them at the east as well? Once the green dwarfs are dead, we will be doomed. That patriarch became anxious and asked, "Then what should we do? Our trump card has been exposed. Shuecho will find a way to break it. Do we have no choice but to sit and wait for our doom?" Chapter 125. In just an hour, Patriarch Lu had figured out the situation. Shuecho and the others had all returned to the Blood Evil Island. The result of the battle was out. Complete victory. Apart from the 2 green dwarfs that died in the end, the others didn't suffer too much loss. The Lu family lost more than 30 warriors and a patriarch of the Spirit Sea realm. Compared to the loss of the Blood Evil Island, it was not worth mentioning. A group of patriarchs gathered together to discuss how to fight the next battle. The patriarchs all agreed to Patriarch 7's suggestion. They should pursue the Blood Evil Island and act according to circumstances. Luli wanted to tell them not to advance rashly, but staying at the Blood Evil Island was not a solution either. He couldn't come up with a better plan after much deliberation, so he kept silent. The time for releasing his bloodline skill had come to an end. He was very weak now, and he felt drowsy. However, the situation was not clear. How could he fall asleep like this? He had to hold on. After some discussion, Patriarch 7 decided to bring all the warriors of the Spirit Sea realm and some of the Xianwu realm of the Lu family and 8 green dwarfs to the Blood Evil Island and act according to circumstances. As the main force of the Lu family, Luli was naturally asked to go with the others. He couldn't disobey them. He made up his mind and followed them on 2 battleships towards the Blood Evil Island. He sat in the cabin of the battleship with his eyes closed, recovering his physical and spiritual energy that he had consumed too much. The Lu family turned out in full force this time. All the warriors of the Spirit Sea realm and more than half of the Xianwu realm were dispatched. Of course, more than half were less than 100. The number of warriors of the Lu family was too few. Even though there were only slightly more than 100 warriors in total, everyone of the Lu family was excited. As long as the powerful warriors of the Blood Evil Brotherhood were eliminated, the Lu family would be able to take control of the Blood Evil Island. With such a large territory and blood caterpillar grasses, the Lu family could develop rapidly and gain a firm foothold at the Thousand Island Lake. The Blood Evil Island was quiet. When the 2 battleships arrived outside of the Blood Evil Island, they found nobody at the dock. All the battleships were gone. They circled around the Blood Evil Island and didn't see a single scout of the Blood Evil Brotherhood. They circled around the Blood Evil Island several times, but still didn't see anybody. The Lu family patriarchs were a bit uneasy. They had thought that they could attack or retreat while outside of the island. Now, they found it difficult to advance or retreat. Go in. The Blood Evil Island was their territory. The Blood Evil Brotherhood had 1 or 2,000 warriors and 3 warriors of the Soul Pond realm. Who knew what would happen after they entered? Retreat? Everyone was indignant. Third brother Lu, bring some men to investigate. Be careful. In the end, the 7th elder gave the order to investigate the situation first. Patriarch Lu set out with 5 of the best scouts of the Lu family. They sneaked toward the Blood Evil Fortress from Small Hill. Everyone anchored the warship at the pier and quietly waited for the result of the investigation. An hour later, a figure flew over from afar with a bitter expression. Third brother Lu, what's going on? Why are you the only one back? Patriarch 7 asked when the man got on the boat. Patriarch Lu, who had just returned, shook his head and sighed. There are too many outsiders in the Blood Evil Castle. Their chief patriarch took action in person. If I hadn't run fast enough, I'm afraid I wouldn't have made it back. Without investigating the situation, who would dare to act rashly? Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Time passed by bit. 2 hours later, Shuecho walked over with 2 warriors of the Soul Pond realm and hundreds of people on the street by the dock. Retreat 1,000 feet and prepare for battle. Patriarch 7 shouted. Everyone unsheathed their weapons, and the battleship retreated quickly. Patriarch 7, Patriarch 9, and Lu Yi stood on the deck of the battleship. They looked at Shuecho and the others who were walking over slowly with vigilance. It had been almost 4 hours. Lu Li hadn't recovered yet, but he was not so tired now. He didn't come out. He was still sitting in the cabin with his legs crossed. Shuecho and the 2 patriarchs of the Soul Pond realm didn't walk in the front. There were hundreds of people blocking their way. Clearly, they were afraid of sneak attacks from the green dwarfs. On the open ground in front of the dock, Shuecho waved his hand. Everyone stopped. Shuecho stared at Patriarch 7 and shouted in a deep voice, Brother Shanha, we have taken in the Lu family. Is this how you treat us? Patriarch 7 was embarrassed. There was no right or wrong in this. The Lu family was ungrateful, but the Blood Evil Island was also up to no good. From the beginning, they wanted to annex the Lu family. Shuebuhui almost raped Lu Yi. Seeing that the Lu family could grow high-quality blood caterpillar fruits, the Blood Evil Island started a war at once. Therefore, it was not wrong to stand on either side. Both forces wanted to grow. In order not to be destroyed and to have greater development, any decision was right. Patriarch 7 smiled embarrassedly. He cupped his fists and said, Brother Shui, let's not talk about this. For the sake of the Lu family, Shanha was forced to do many things. How about this? You leave the Blood Evil Island, and I promise I will not be your enemy again. Also, I will give you 1 million Xian crystals a year. What do you think? 1 million Xian crystals. Not only the Liu family, but also the Blood Evil Island was in an uproar. The price offered by Patriarch 7 shocked many people. 1 million Xian crystals was not a small number even for the Blood Evil Island. However, Liu Yi and the others thought about it. If the Liu family could get the Blood Evil Island, how many high-quality blood caterpillar fruits could they grow? It would not be a problem to make several million Xian crystals a year. So what if they gave 1 million to the Blood Evil Brotherhood? Xue Chou kept silent. After a while, he started to talk with the two patriarchs again. After the time it took for 3 incense sticks to burn, Xue Chou turned around and said, "Brother Shanhe, how about this? We will still give you the Blood Dragon Island. We can also give you the 3 nearby islands. You give us 1 million Xian crystals a year. From now on, we will live in peace and mind our own business." Xue Chou seemed to be afraid of the green dwarfs. He didn't want to continue the war and wanted to make peace. Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 looked at each other. Their eyes glowed. As a matter of fact, they didn't want to continue the war either. The Liu family needed time to develop. As long as they could stall for some time, the Liu family could buy more green dwarfs. They could use resources to produce a large batch of warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. The Liu family could develop and eventually gain a firm foothold at the Thousand Island Lake. Patriarch 7 and the other patriarchs discussed for a while. Finally, Patriarch 7 made up his mind. He looked at Xue Chou and said, "Brother Xue, lend us the Blood Evil Island for 1 year. You can have the other islands. Every month, we will give you 100,000 Xian crystals. In this way, both sides could develop quickly. After 1 year, we will all leave the Blood Evil Island. We will go and fight for the other islands with magma. We can also make a blood oath. If we break it, we will die a horrible death." Patriarch 7's offer was sincere, which was beneficial to the Liu family. If the Blood Evil Island was given to the Liu family for 1 year, the Liu family could earn enough Xian crystals to buy dozens of green dwarfs. By then, they could easily conquer any island with magma. As expected, Xue Chou seemed to be tempted. Xue Chou's eyes flickered. He said he could think about it, but he needed to gather all the patriarchs of the family for a discussion. He asked the Liu family to give him 2 hours. Xue Chou went back with a group of people. The patriarchs of the Liu family were overjoyed. Their eyes were filled with passion. All they could think about was how the Liu family would develop after they got the Blood Evil Island, how to expand the farm, and plant more blood caterpillar fruits. Liu Yi was excited. She immediately went into the cabin to share the good news with Liu Li. Liu Li was in a better state of mind. He was silent after he heard Liu Yi's story. After thinking for the time it took for 1 incense stick to burn, he suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "A bunch of idiots! You have been fooled. Xue Chou is just stalling." Chapter 126. The onlooker sees the game more clearly than the person involved. The people of the Liu family were caught in the trap. They were blinded by interests. They were thinking about how the Liu family could develop, how they could grow, and how they could earn countless Xian crystals after they got the Blood Evil Island. Perhaps some people would think of the worst possibility, but in the face of huge benefits, they automatically threw away the bad thoughts. As far as they were concerned, Xue Chou only had 3 warriors of the Soul Pond realm, while they had 8 green dwarfs. Xue Chou knew that he was no match for the Blood Evil Island, and they had given him so many Xian crystals a year. Besides, they only wanted the Blood Evil Island for a year. How could Xue Chou and the others say no? Liu Li was not a member of the Liu family. At least, he never regarded himself as one of the Liu family. Therefore, he didn't care too much about how much the Liu family could gain. The Liu family was just a temporary shelter for him. Liu Li was calm, and he considered the whole picture. In the old days, he didn't like to think because Liu Ling would help him with everything. After Liu Ling was brought to the Cyan Plains, Liu Li had matured a lot. He liked to use his brain on many things to get rid of the fog and see the essence. He thought from Xue Chou's perspective. The Blood Evil Island was Xue Chou's foundation. He had been operating here for more than 10 years. If he lost the Blood Evil Island, what would he have left? Since Xue Cho could rise up at the Thousand Island Lake, he must be a very smart man. If they gave up the Blood Evil Island, the Liu family would be able to develop rapidly. By then, the status of the Liu family and the Liu family would be reversed. The Liu family would be the dominant family. It would be up to the Liu family to decide whether they wanted to leave, stay, or destroy the Liu family. What was Xue Chao's purpose in starting this war? He wanted to get the secret recipe of the Liu family to grow blood caterpillar grasses. What about the Blood Evil Island? They would never be able to get the secret recipe. Instead, they might be destroyed by the Liu family at any time. Therefore, unless Xue Cho was an idiot, he would never give up the Blood Evil Island. Then the question was, why did Xue Cho come out to negotiate? Why did he pretend to be seriously considering? The only explanation was that he was stalling for time. What was the point of stalling for time? Of course, they were waiting for reinforcements. All the battleships outside the Blood Evil Island were gone. Needless to say, they had gone out to look for reinforcements. Xue Cho had been operating here for more than 10 years. If he paid a huge price, he would definitely be able to invite some reinforcements. After hearing Lu Li's explanation, Lu Yi was shocked. She took several deep breaths to calm herself down. After some careful analysis, his face turned pale. It seemed that Lu Li's words made sense. Lu Yi dared not to make the decision herself. She called Patriarch 7 and the others over at once and told them what Lu Li said. After Elder Jiu heard this, he waved his hand and said, "Reinforcements? Impossible. According to my investigation, Xue Cho doesn't have a good relationship with several third-rank forces nearby. He even had a war with a nearby Black Fox Island. Impossible, impossible." Lu Li sneered and said, "Have you been a patriarch all these years for nothing? Are there eternal friends and enemies between forces? Idiot." The 9th elder was furious, but the 7th elder waved his hand and said, "Old 9, enough." Lu Li was right. There were no eternal friends or enemies between the forces, only eternal interests. This matter, let me think about it. The 7th patriarch calmed down and even closed his eyes. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "Third Elder Lu, immediately take some people to the nearby lake area to investigate and see if there are any reinforcements." After Patriarch Lu heard this, he rushed into the water with several people and dived to all directions at the top of his speed. Patriarch 7's expressions became more solemn. He glanced over to the other patriarchs and said, "There is something wrong. Xue Cho is a strong-willed man. He will not give up the Blood Evil Island that he has fought so hard to conquer so easily. He is the kind of person who would rather die in glory than live in dishonor. There is something wrong. Maybe Lu Li is right." Patriarch 9 had been following Patriarch 7's lead. He was a bit flustered and asked, "Brother 7, what should we do now?" Patriarch 7 looked to Lu Li, who ignored him with his eyes closed. Lu Li continued to restore his physical strength and energy. Patriarch 7 thought about it and said, Wait for Third Elder Lu to come back." The patriarchs sat with their legs crossed, their expressions solemn. The joy they had before was gone. They waited with uneasiness. After an hour, Patriarch Lu came back. He rushed to the battleship like a sharp sword. He went into the cabin dripping wet and said, "Something is wrong. There are 3 battleships coming from 15 miles to the north. I didn't dare to get closer, but there are many people on board." Swish, swish, swish. The patriarch's expressions changed. Even though the scouts from the other directions didn't come back, Lu Li's speculation had come true. Xue Cho was stalling for time and waiting for reinforcements. "Brother 7, what should we do?" Patriarch 9 and the others all looked at Patriarch 7, waiting for his decision. Lu Yi was the family patriarch, but now she was in a panic, let alone making decisions for the others. Patriarch 7 was hesitant. He glanced over everyone and said, "How about we go back to the Blood Dragon Island and defend till the end?" The Blood Dragon Island was covered with inhibition formations. In the smog, the green dwarfs were more lethal. If they could defeat the reinforcements invited by Shuecho, the Lu family could at least defend the Blood Dragon Island and then make further plans. Idiot! Luli suddenly opened his eyes. His energy and physical strength were almost recovered. He glanced over to everyone coldly and said, "Only death awaits us if we go back." Since Shuecho can invite reinforcements, he must have paid a huge price. If we don't destroy the Lu family, how can he recoup his losses? Even if we can defend against one wave of attacks, Shuecho will definitely throw out all the assets of the Blood Evil Island and ask for more reinforcements. If he sends out 6 or 7 warriors of the Soul Pond realm, how can you defend? But everyone looked at each other, not knowing whether to advance or retreat. Luli picked up his mighty heaven halberd and shouted coldly, "What are you waiting for? Now, we have to kill our way into the Blood Evil Island and destroy the Blood Evil Brotherhood. As long as we can kill Shuecho and the others before the reinforcements arrive and occupy the Blood Evil Island, we will send them back. How the reinforcements come, we will send them back. Right?" Patriarch 7 suddenly stood up. Luli's last words had enlightened him. As long as they could kill Shuecho and the others and occupy the Blood Evil Island, they could come up with some conditions to negotiate with the nearby islands and have them retreat. Kill. Patriarch 7 gave the order to attack. All the patriarchs, including Lu Yi, showed determination on their faces. If they could not win this battle, the Blood Evil Island would be their burial ground. 2 battleships started to move closer to the Blood Evil Island, including the Green Dwarfs. More than 120 people rushed towards the Blood Evil Fortress. Patriarch 7 ordered more than a dozen disciples of the Xianwu realm to explore the way in the front, followed by Lu Li and a group of patriarchs. The 8 Green Dwarfs are behind Lu Li and the others. The group rushed forward with strong, killing intent. What Lu Li and the others did not know was that there was a golden chariot parked in the sky to the north of the Blood Evil Island. This chariot was the same as the ones in the battle at the Wuling County. The inhibition formation was activated. People on the ground could not see or feel it. "You're not that stupid." A lazy voice came from the chariot. There were only 2 people on the chariot. One was an enchanting beauty, and the other was a white-haired old man. If Lu Li and Lu Yi could see them, they would recognize them immediately. Madame Yin and Chief Steward Bai. When the battle at the Blood Evil Island started at dawn, the chariot had arrived. However, the inhibition formation was activated, so people on the ground could not notice it. Chief Steward Bai looked at the Lu family rushing towards the Blood Evil Island and then looked into the distance. He saw 3 black dots. His sparse eyebrows frowned and said, "Madam, it will be hard for Lu Li to win this fight." Chapter 127. Chief Steward Bai looked to the east and the south. He faintly saw some ripples. He hesitated for a bit and said, "How about I go down there and stop the warriors from the 3 islands?" "Stop what?" Madame Yin glanced at him coldly and said, "I told you a few days ago that the Bai family cannot get involved in the disputes of the Thousand Island Lake. This is the rule set by our forefather." Chief Steward Bai naturally knew about this. He peeked at Madame Yin and mumbled, "I thought Madame came here to watch the fight, just to help Lu Li." "You are wrong." Madame Yin waved one finger and said, "I will not help anyone. I am only here to verify one thing." "Oh, I get it. Madam, you want to make sure if Lu Li is a disciple of the Lu family?" Chief Steward Bai nodded and then asked, "What if Lu Li is? What should we do?" "Nothing." Madam Yin stroked the pet in her arms and shook her head. "Bai Fu, you must remember one thing. Rules are rules. Under no circumstances can a disciple of the Bai family break the rules. Only our forefather can." Swish, swish, swish. Down below, at the Blood Evil Island, a group of people had just rushed into the main road inside the island when arrows were shot out from the bushes on both sides. Several disciples of the Lu family at the front were hit in an instant. Oi! Patriarch 7 and the others immediately flew up. They wielded their weapons and blocked off the arrows. They all knew that there were many hidden inhibition formations on the Blood Evil Island, but they didn't expect them to be so powerful. The arrows stopped after a while. However, more than 20 people of the Liu family were shot to death, and more than 10 were wounded. Patriarch 7 ordered someone to send the wounded back with a gloomy face. This time, he and the other patriarchs took the lead. Otherwise, all the disciples of the Liu family would die. As expected, they walked forward for more than half a mile. Suddenly, the road in front of them was filled with thick smoke. They couldn't see anything clearly. Also, the smoke was colorful. Clearly, it was poisonous. The Blood Evil Fortress was about half a mile ahead of them. The road was blocked. Reinforcements could arrive at any time. Patriarch 7 glanced over and said while clenching his teeth, "Go around." There was a dense forest on both sides of the road. Inside the forest, there were large trees that covered the sky, and thorns densely covered the ground. It was dark and gloomy. Who knew how many restrictions were set up inside, and how many enemies were hiding inside? But now, there was no other way out. The 7th elder took the lead and wielded his sharp earth-ranked profound weapon, hacking and slashing all the way as they advanced quickly. All the elders fanned out to protect the Xian martial realm martial artists behind them. Boom! An elder suddenly triggered a restriction, and a bolt of lightning struck down from the sky, causing the elder's entire body to emit green smoke. Fortunately, the elder dodged in time and was not struck in the head. Otherwise, he would have died on the spot. Patriarchs of the Liu family were all at the Spirit Sea realm. None of them were at the Soul Pond realm, so their perception was not strong. Many hidden inhibition formations could not be detected. Luli sighed helplessly and said in a low voice, "Little White, go ahead and explore the way." "Xiao." Little White sneaked out from Luli's sleeve. Luli followed Little White and said to Patriarch 7 and the others, "Follow me. You could discover restrictions." Patriarch 7 and the others looked at Luli with suspicion. Luli moved forward without saying anything. He would not be able to discover them, but he believed in Little White. In the bamboo hill of the Blood Dragon Island, Little White ran around every day, but it never once touched the inhibition formations outside the bamboo hill. Louis did not know how Little White did it. Could avoid the inhibition formations nearby? But what could he do now? If all the Liu family warriors were dead before they reached the Blood Evil Brotherhood, then there would be no point in fighting. Little White was not fast. Its little nose was twitching, and its little eyes were looking around. It moved forward in a zigzagging way. However, after walking for dozens of feet, it did not touch any inhibition formations. Okay, Patriarch 7 and the others were relieved. They followed Luli closely and rushed forward. Something miraculous happened. Little White never stopped. It didn't touch any inhibition formations even after running for hundreds of feet. Naturally, it was safe for the others to follow it. Another hundreds of feet later, they saw a faint light in front of them. Everyone's spirits were boosted. At the same time, they secretly clenched their weapons. Their Xian energy glowed as they were ready to take action. Sure enough, after another 100 feet, they saw an open space in front of them through the dense woods. They could vaguely see some castles. They successfully made it through the woods and arrived at the Blood Evil Fortress. Little White, come back. Family Patriarch, follow me closely later. Luli asked Little White to sneak into his sleeve. He slowed down his steps and told Lui's combat ability was not good enough. Even though she had 3 green dwarfs with her, she could still die easily. It was because she was controlling 3 green dwarfs that she would become the target of the enemies. Lui nodded. Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 had already rushed out. Luli's Xian energy glowed, and he followed them closely. The open space outside was full of people. In front of them were groups of warriors of the Xianwu realm and dozens of warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. Shueqiu, an old man and a middle-aged man, stood at the back, ready to fight. Brother Shanha, what is the meaning of this? Shueqiu held a huge axe in his hand and shouted with a murderous look on his face. Patriarch 7, however, said nothing. He waved his saber and shouted angrily, "Kill!" At this moment, there was no point in talking nonsense. It was meaningless to talk about righteousness. Winning was the way to go. Nearly 100 people rushed out like sharp swords. Everyone's faces were filled with murderous intent. This fight was related to the life and death of everyone in the Liu family. They must try their best. Kill. Shuecho waved his hand. The more than 2,000 people in front of him unsheathed their weapons and charged towards the Liu family. Shuecho and the other two didn't do anything. Their target was the 8 green dwarfs. Their strategy was clear. They would let the more than 2,000 people stall the Liu family while they looked for a chance to kill the green dwarfs. They could win this fight even without reinforcements. Attack! Lu Li and Lu Yi sent out the 8 green dwarfs at once. Otherwise, before they could kill Shuecho and the others, all the warriors of the Liu family would die in battle. As soon as the green dwarfs moved out, a storm of blood started. Almost no one could stand up to the green dwarfs. They were too fast, and their claws were too sharp. Often, the enemies would be killed before they could even attack them. Shuecho and the others were dumbfounded. They had been looking for a chance to attack the green dwarfs. Now, the green dwarfs were shuttling back and forth among the Liu family, slaughtering everywhere. Unless they wanted to smash their own people to death, they could not attack the green dwarfs. Point! Lu Li swung his mighty heaven halberd with an unstoppable momentum. He released his bloodline skill at once. Relying on his horrifying strength and the sharpness of his weapon, he swept across the sky. Anyone that was hit by him would either be smashed away severely injured or be smashed to death. Similarly, Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 were also unbelievably fierce. Patriarch 7 could kill a warrior at the latter stage of the Spirit Sea realm with one move. Even Lu Li was surprised. However, he saw many patriarchs taking pellets in secret. He understood at once. It seemed like this group of elders were consuming elixirs. Furthermore, it wasn't just one type of elixir, but several types of elixirs. Their speed, strength, and battle prowess were all greatly enhanced. This fight was of great significance to the Liu family. The Liu family had spent all their Xian crystals and bought many pellets. They were going to use all of them this time. Chapter 128. Shuecho and the others were dumbfounded to see so many people being slaughtered. They thought they were sure to win this time. Little did they expect that things would turn out like this. The Blood Evil Island had Xian crystals, but they didn't think about buying those pellets that could increase combat abilities. Everyone on the Liu family's side took the pellets, and their combat abilities soared. Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9's combat abilities could almost compare to warriors of the Soul Pond realm. It was too easy for them to kill warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. They could kill one in several moves. More importantly, the 8 green dwarfs were so ferocious. In the time it took for just half an incense stick to burn, at least 300 or 400 people had died in the claws of the green dwarfs. Lu Li, take this. Lu Yi had been following Lu Li closely. She threw him a bottle and said in a low voice, "There are 3 power pellets in there that can increase strength by 50% and 3 wind pellets that can double your speed. Take them as you see fit. But 1 pellet can only increase the time for 1 incense stick to burn." Good stuff, Lu Li exclaimed to himself. The pellets must be pricey. The Liu family must have put in a lot of money. He didn't need the pellets at the moment. Nobody could stand a chance against the mighty Heaven Halberd. Island owner, Chief Patriarch and Patriarch 4 of the Blood Evil Island were anxious. Seeing so many people being slaughtered, they looked at Shuecho anxiously, waiting for his decision. The casualties were more than 500 or 600, but only more than a dozen died on the Liu family side. Shuecho clenched his teeth and said, "Wait a bit more. Reinforcements will be here soon." The green dwarfs were too ferocious. Once he rushed over and was killed by the green dwarfs, it would be pointless even if reinforcements arrived. It didn't matter if some warriors of the Blood Evil Island died. As long as they could win this fight, everything else would be fine. Shuecho and the others didn't move. Lu Li and the others were surrounded and could not break out in a short time. Naturally, they couldn't attack Shuecho and the other two. Shuecho and the other two were on guard. If they controlled the green dwarfs to attack, they could easily be killed by the three, which would be troublesome. Therefore, even though Lu Li and Patriarch 7 were worried, they had to kill the warriors of the Blood Evil Island first. Blood was flying in the air. Broken limbs were flying everywhere. The badly wounded warriors were rolling on the ground and howling on the ground. The scene was so ghastly that one could not bear to look at it. Time flew on. Every second, someone would die. Warriors of the Blood Evil Island were harvested in batches. The casualties of the Lu family began to increase. More than half of the Xianwu realm warriors had been killed or injured. 4 Spirit Sea realm patriarchs died. Now, there were only 7 patriarchs left. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, a series of muffled footsteps came from behind. It was obvious that countless people were rushing over. Patriarch 7 and the others' expressions changed drastically. The eyes of Xueqiu and the other 2 brightened up. Xueqiu roared. The reinforcements have arrived. Kill Lu Li. Patriarch. Patriarch 7 shouted as he killed one of the green dwarfs. Lu Li and Lu Yi understood what Patriarch 7 meant. Lu Li roared and controlled 5 green dwarfs to break out of the encirclement. Lu Yi controlled the other 3 green dwarfs to follow him closely. At the same time, Patriarch 7, Patriarch 9, and a few warriors of the Spirit Sea realm began to lead their warriors to break the siege, dashing towards Xueqiu and the other 2. Reinforcements had arrived. If they still could not kill Xueqiu and the other 2, they would be doomed eternally. Everyone would stay at the Blood Evil Island forever. Xueqiu and the other 2 no longer hesitated. The reinforcements had arrived. Naturally, they had to make their moves. Otherwise, why would the reinforcements do anything when they saw that they were not doing anything? After some observation, they had a good understanding of the ways of attack of the green dwarfs, so they were not so scared. The green dwarfs' fighting capacity could be compared to warriors of the Soul Pond realm. However, there was still a gap between them and real warriors of the Soul Pond realm. Not to mention that Xueqiu and Patriarch 4 had been at the Soul Pond realm for years. Chief Patriarch was at the middle stage of the Soul Pond realm. It was the same logic. Even though Patriarch 7 and Patriarch 9 had taken pellets and their fighting capacity had been improved in a short time, there was still a huge gap between them and real warriors of the Soul Pond realm. The 3 of them didn't worry at all. Hiss, hiss, the 3 of them released their Xian energy at the same time. All 3 of them released Xian energy that was like a ray of sword light. They shot out like 3 glowing wind blades, tearing the space apart and making a shrill noise. It was quite horrifying. However, none of the 3 rays of sword light were aimed at the green dwarfs. Instead, they were aimed at Lu Li, Lu Yi, and Patriarch 7. Xueqiu and the other 2 had seen it clearly. The green dwarfs were controlled by Lu Li and Lu Yi. As long as they could kill the 2, the green dwarfs would be free and they would be safe. If they could destroy the jade talismans in Lu Li and Lu Yi's hands, it would be even better. Without the jade talismans, the green dwarfs would be completely out of control. They would either run away or kill at will. Both Lu Yi and Lu Li would attack. When Xueqiu stared at Lu Li was alerted at once. He quickly took out a wind pellet from his chest pocket and swallowed it. The pellet turned into a stream of heat that flowed through his body. Lu Li felt his body became very light. He kicked on the ground with one leg and dodged to the side like a gust of wind. Lu Li didn't take any pellet. She just controlled a green dwarf to rush in front of her to help her block the strike. Patriarch 7 had been taking pellets, so his reaction was fast. He dodged at once. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 rays of sword light with Xian energy all hit the green dwarfs. Green scales appeared on the bodies of the 3 green dwarfs. The scales were hit by the ray of sword light, and the green blood spilled out. The green dwarfs stepped back for dozens of feet. Even though they were wounded, they rushed forward again immediately. These green dwarfs were all implanted with soul worms and domesticated. Even if they were badly wounded, they would still rush forward without a care for their lives. The green dwarfs in front of them had already rushed forward. Shuecho and the other two didn't have the chance to release their Xian energy anymore. The three of them picked up their weapons and started fighting. Lu Yi dared not to get closer. Patriarch 7 and Lu Li, on the other hand, ran over, looking for a chance to launch a sneak attack. The 8 green dwarfs were divided into 3 teams. The most powerful one, Chief Patriarch Lu Li, controlled 4 green dwarfs to besiege them. Shuecho and Patriarch 4 sent 2 green dwarfs to besiege them. Bang! One had to admit that the Chief Patriarch of the Blood Evil Island was powerful. The weapon in his hand was a black iron rod. With one sweep, he smashed a green dwarf away. He turned around and swung again, and another green dwarf was smashed away. The reaction speed and perception of warriors at the Soul Pond realm were too strong. Before the green dwarfs got close, Chief Patriarch had already calculated their attack trajectories. He made his move in advance and easily smashed the green dwarfs away with his powerful strength. Shuecho and Patriarch 4 were a bit weaker. Faced with the siege of 2 green dwarfs, they had to dodge and fight back at the same time. Even though they could manage it, they could not win in a short time. Kill! Lu Li and Patriarch 7 looked at each other. They rushed towards the Chief Patriarch of the Blood Evil Island at the same time. If they didn't make a move, the green dwarfs would have no chance to kill Chief Patriarch. On the off chance that Chief Patriarch could smash some green dwarfs to death, the Lu family would be completely defeated. Patriarch 9 also rushed over with 3 men. Without any hesitation, the 3 threw a pellet into their mouths and rushed towards Shuecho and Patriarch 4 in groups of 2. They had the same idea as Lu Li and Patriarch 7. They tried their best to distract Shuecho and Patriarch 4 for a moment, so that the green dwarfs could have a chance to kill them. Bang! They were still too naive. Patriarch 7 had just rushed over and wanted to launch a sneak attack when he was smashed by the Chief Patriarch of the Blood Evil Island. He was smashed away in an instant. His left shoulder was bleeding, and his left hand was ruined in an instant, so ferocious. Lu Li, who was rushing over, was secretly shocked. Patriarch 7 had taken the pellet and could be compared to a warrior of the Soul Pond realm, but he was badly wounded in one move. Would Lu Li be smashed to death in one move? You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.